everyone. Welcome to the second night of the Giles County Election Forum. Felt last night went great, so we're glad to have you back tonight. It's a great opportunity for voters to hear directly from the candidates that are seeking your vote on August 6th. So we're glad that we are partnering with the paper to be able to provide this for you. A couple of housekeeping, if everyone could silence their cell phones. We had a couple go off last night. Of course, we're on the radio and live streaming, so it helps cut down the background noise. If you need exits, same way you came in, there's an exit through this door. Bathrooms are this way. If you want to avoid the cameras, walk around the back. Mr. Keith is here. He's going to lead us in a prayer and the Pledge of Allegiance.
Please rise, everyone. Good evening. Let's pray. Almighty God, Lord, we are a grateful people. We live in a wonderful nation, and you blessed us with a wonderful state, a wonderful county, and a sweet spot right here in Pulaski. And Lord, I just thank you for the citizens that are stepping up, willing to serve. And Father, they truly have to be servants to the people. And I pray that everyone that is elected this season has that servant's heart that considers one another, considers the whole, the individual, and our community as a community. We're one community. We have a lot of individuals, but we are one. And you have brought us here together, and now you've give us the opportunity to select leaders. And Father, I just pray that through the course of these debates and the conversations that civility will prevail in all ways. And Lord, that the wisdom will come from the collective minds of those that come together and seek to accomplish the most together. Father, there's solutions to every problem, and a solution-focused council will get us where we need to be. And I just pray that that be the outcome of these elections. And Lord, tonight, I just pray your blessing over this evening, the blessing over every candidate that is here and those that are watching online. Lord, I just pray that you give us the wisdom to listen, to hear the hearts of the people, but also the ideas. And Father, that when all is said and done, that we will have chosen those leaders that will carry us through the next 4 years. And Lord God, to bring us to the place that is beneficial to each and every one of us. And Lord, tonight, just thank you for the host and for each and every one that has brought this together and for this blessed opportunity. In Jesus' name, amen. If you would now, please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you.
Thank you, Morgan. Thank you, Ricky. By the way, we want to thank the American Legion. We got the flags from the American Legion, so thank the American Legion. I'm Scott Stewart. That was Morgan Hoover with WKSR, and Ricky Keith, who's a local pastor and happens to be the city administrator for the city of Pulaski. So thank you guys. Thank you everybody for being here. This will be a lot like last night, but just in case you guys didn't see what I said last night, I will say it again. So I'm Scott Stewart with Pulaski Citizen, and before I get started tonight, I would like to make sure that I say thank you to a few people. We got the WKSR staff that's helping us in different ways. We had Chandler here last night, and we had Graham running the board at WKSR last night, and then we got Elijah running it tonight, and of course Morgan and her group has done great. Pulaski Citizen staff, Chandler Harmon is up there. He's taking care of our live streaming. Kelly Garrett, Tiffany Haygood. And if any candidates, by the way, are interested in any advertising, Tiffany and or Kelly are good for the paper. I've got you down. Don't you get mad. I'll show you this. It's got I can see Morgan for WKSR too. So I had not forgotten you, Morgan. I like to thank Marcus Houston, by the way, for last night for doing our prayer and our pledge, and Ricky Keith tonight. So also thanks to Tammy Pierchowski and Rosie, the guys here at Star, for having this great forum ready for us. And as I said last night, y'all, this is a jewel. This place is a jewel in our county and in our city. And if you have not seen the show here, go ahead and make that change coming up. Whether you got Aladdin Jr. coming up soon. We saw the kids coming out last night, right from while they were practicing, and then there's another play coming up after that. So just if you haven't seen a production here, the reason I say that is because that's our local people. Those are our local kids piling out here last night that were practicing for Latin Junior. This is our local community. And we all talk about how we want to support local, how we want to be local, and this is the way to do it. So don't, if you have it, don't let any more time go. Next time they have a show, make sure you get here, okay? Last but not least, I want to thank the police department. Real late notice, I called them and they said and asked them to have if they would have some officers swing by maybe and check on us just to make sure everything's going good. And they have done that. And I want to thank them for that. Also, all of our law enforcement, first responders. I always want to show our appreciation to those guys. Thank you. Okay. So this is our third election. I'm sorry. I wanted to get all that out of the way because all those people deserve thank yous. But this is our third election for them. And so I want to take a real quick moment to acknowledge my friend, the late Billy T. Young. And Billy T. was a major motivator and contributor to getting these things started. Back in 2018, we started right here. I was talking to Chad just a minute ago. We started right here at the Star Theater. That big post was there, and Chad was posted up on this side of it with he did the video. So Chad, his son Chad is here tonight. Maldessa was here last night, and Debbie, just like everywhere across the state of Tennessee that Billy T. Young was bending ears about exit 14, Debbie was with him. So Debbie's here again tonight, and Billy was absolutely mystified, horrified, and irritated, and every other word you can think of with the fact that there was money driving up down that interstate every single day that we could be collecting in sales tax. And that's how he and I got started as far as doing some of this stuff together. And long story short, which I can make it as long as you want me to, but long story short, the reason he taught me into going ahead and doing what I wanted to do along with Chad. And so that's how these election forms got started. And really what we wanted to do, we know that personal information, that's a lot of what you get from people is personal information in their announcements in the paper and stuff like that. We wanted that. We want that. That's important. We want to know who you are, but we also want to know what you're going to do. And that's what Billy and I talked about. That's what we wanted to do. And that's the reason why we asked the questions we asked. We want to find out what you're going to do to make Giles County move forward. We want our county to move forward, but we also want to keep what's special about it, right? And that's what we're here to do. That's what these elections are all about. So Chad and Debbie are here to represent Exit 14. Exit 14 has been the sponsor of these forums ever since we started them. All right, these are pretty simple. So Billy's up there going, come on, get this going. Quit talking so much about me. So these forms are pretty simple. We're going to call a group of candidates up here seeking office, seeking the same office. This is a little different what we have up here. Each district doesn't have a lot of school board candidates, so we're putting all the school board candidates up here together at the same time. They'll be answering the same questions anyway. So we've got all the school board coming up first, but we'll ask you guys to come up here as a group, and in order, we'll ask you to, first of all, share a little bit about yourselves, and then we'll start asking questions. Each of you will get the opportunity to answer the same question. Rebuttals and questions to the questions are allowed from anyone at the table or Morgan and myself. However, we'd really like to save all the rebuttals and any extra comments after everybody's had a chance to talk. We're trying to get this done by 9. Last night we got done before 9. That's the first time ever. I don't think it's going to happen again. I don't believe it. I think it was an anomaly. I don't think it's going to happen again. But I think the shorter breaks help. So we will take some shorter breaks between candidates or between groups. So like last night, we'll be as strict as possible with the time, while still making sure everybody gets a chance to say what they need to about any topic. We're going to ask each candidate to give us an answer within 2 minutes. Morgan and I will be down here to signal. You got my little sheet that will show you. It'll say 15 seconds, and then it'll say 5 seconds. And if you can, just try to wrap up as quickly as possible. Try to give you about 15 seconds of grace, and then we may have to interrupt you, and we apologize for that up front, right? Morgan and I have taken all the coverage that we do with our radio station and newspaper. We've taken comments from our listeners and our readers, and we've taken everything that we know about what's going on, and we've curated these questions. And these questions are designed to allow the candidates to touch the issues that are important to them, but also touch the issues that are important to the voters. And so that's what we're trying to do with these questions. Finally, promise I'm gonna get out of y'all's way. And we're talking about decorum. I've used this every time that we've done this, and it's worked. So I'm gonna say pretty much the same stuff I've said since 2018. So I want to finish up by saying that we've been extremely blessed and thankful to have our previous debates and forums to have candidates and audience members who have been respectful of each other. So we've had absolutely no problems with people speaking out of turn or verbally attacking each other. And last night was the same. And that's exactly what we would love for tonight. First of all, this is not a back and forth between the audience and the candidates. As politely as we can, we ask audience members to refrain from making comments or asking questions of the candidates while they're on stage. Now, like I said last night, in the breaks, you can catch one of them somewhere. You can ask them whatever you want, talk to them, and I'm sure they'd love to. But just try to be nice about it, okay? And frankly, I've said this every year, so I'm going to say it this way. If you don't think you can listen to these candidates, share ideas, and sometimes disagree with each other without interrupting, then I'm just going to ask yourself to go ahead and excuse yourself right now. If you can, please stay. I don't want to see anybody leave. Fortunately, the event's being broadcast on WKSR Live. It's being live streamed on Facebook and YouTube, so there's ample opportunity to see it and hear it. And finally, kind of along the same lines, if we all remember that our goals tonight are the same, every time we have an election, every time we have one of these debates, we're trying to make our community better. And we're trying to make it better for ourselves and the future generations, and while we're maintaining what we love about our home. But we all don't agree how to get there, do we? Right? So I just hope that we can disagree and agree with the same kind of attitude. That we can disagree with the same attitude we agree with. And thank you for allowing me to say that. Thank y'all for putting up with me for longer than I wanted to be up here. So let's get this thing started, okay? We're going to call up first the school board, all the school board candidates here. And I'll read them off here in just 1 second. Thank y'all. Thank you. So our school board candidates here tonight are Laurie Wade from District 3, Crystal Woolard from District 5, Richie Brewer from District 5, Victoria Hayes from District 7. I'm sorry, Shelley Goolsby from District 7. There was a space there. I didn't see it. These microphones, everybody, are designed to pick up everybody at the table. If we're having a hard time hearing somebody, I have an extra microphone that I will put in front of them in case. Yep, there's Rich, there's Lori, there's Crystal, Shelley. Yeah, make sure you go to where your name is. All right, thank you guys. I'm going to let Morgan introduce you guys and let you guys introduce yourselves.
All right, thank you guys. We're going to start with about 1 minute each. We'll start Ms. Wade and go down the line. If you could take about a minute to introduce yourself for everyone. And Ms. Wade, we'll start with you.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Laurie Ann Wade, and I'm a fourth generation District 3 person. My family's lived in District 3 for quite a long while. I am interested in becoming a school board member because I've been involved in the school system since I first returned here from Hawaii. I have a degree in liberal arts, and I have a master's degree in vocational rehabilitation counseling. So I've been dealing with the school system ever since I graduated from college. I am divorced. I had a child that went through Giles County Schools, but he is deceased now. But I've also had a nephew go to Bridgeforth Middle School, and a nephew who went to Giles County High School. I'm a military brat, which means I'm experienced in living a little bit of everywhere. But I chose Giles County to remain my home.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Wade. Mr. Brewer?
My name is Richie Brewer. I've lived in this county since 1962. My dad was in Dyersburg at Dyersburg High School as a football coach, track coach, and baseball coach. And my grandparents lived here, and we decided to move down here with them. And I've been in the school system about 42 years, maybe a little more than that now. But if you add up my parents, who were both teachers, administrator, my wife, who just retired at 42 years, my sister, who is teaching right now, my wife's mother, and the years that I've served on the school board and now serving on the at the UT Southern, we've got somewhere about 200 years in the school system. And my thing is, I'm here for the kids, and that's all I can say about that.
Thank you, Mr. Brewer. Ms. Woolard?
Hi, my name is Crystal Woolard. I have been in the Giles County Schools since, I guess, around fourth grade, right? Graduated from Highland Baptist my senior year, went to Martin Methodist College, went back a little later after I had an English degree, got my bachelor's in English, went back, got my licensure to teach secondary ed, taught eighth grade English at Richland for a couple of years. My kids have also come up through the school system. And this is very nerve-wracking, y'all. And you may know my family. My dad is Santa. My mom has been a school teacher and organist here for a very long time. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Woolard. Ms. Goolsby?
Hi, I'm Shelley Goolsby, and I am married to Steve Goolsby. Together we have 4 children, 10 grandchildren, 9 girls, and 1 boy due next month. So we got bookends. I am a retired teacher from Giles County, taught all but 1 year of my tenure as a teacher at Bridgeforth Middle School, where I coached cheerleading, Morgan, and soccer, boys and girls. And then I retired and began a career as a real estate agent. So I see the importance of schools through that business. I have been on the commission. I was elected in 2014, 2018, and 2022. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Goolsby. Ms. Hayes?
Okay, nerve-wracking, yes. My turn. Hi, I'm Victoria. I moved here at 7, and throughout my time here and my children, I've been at every school in the system except for Elkton. At 17, I joined the Army, and my training from the Army and my experience in co-owning and running Daylight Donuts for 15 years provided me the skill set needed to help aid the school system in the coming years. After that, I also have my paralegal degree and have been involved in numerous organizations that are too many. And I just want to advocate more for the children in our community. Thank you.
Thank you, guys. Appreciate that. So the Giles County school system has built some momentum financially over the past few years. And I'd like for each of you to tell us, how do you think the school board can continue that momentum? And what areas of our schools would you like to see prioritized for funding? And we'll start with Richie.
We've made some pretty good strides with our finances in here in the past few years. We got a real good school board. It is members who work together really well, and with Knox's guidance and Dr. Beard's, we've been able to move forward in finances and make sure that we're getting grants. We get all sorts of those to just help us out. And we try to give back to the community. We recently gave 5 cents back to the county so they could help them out because we were ahead on our finances. And our fund balance was up to, I think, about 11 million. And then we took a couple of million of that and paid toward the cost of our schools being repaired. And it is a real need for us to be looking at replacing schools. Sometimes you get into repairing schools and you feel like sometimes that you may have just put lipstick on a pig, but they really has done a real good job in repairing our schools. But we're going to have to think about getting some new ones. You know, we got schools that's built back in 52. And you want your students to be in the most healthy environment they possibly can be, because that's going to be the thing that they're going to go to school in, and we're going to need to make sure it's a safe place for them to be.
Thank you, Rich. Crystal, you're up next. Do you need me to read it, or you got it in front of you?
I've got it right here. And I was talking to Mr. Vanderpool before the meeting. They have done amazing things with their funding over the past few years. We do have a very good school board, and I've seen them work together. It's very nice. If I were to prioritize the funding, I agree with Mr. Brewer that the buildings, we do need new ones for the students. And I would also like to see, I'd like to see teacher raises keep up with inflation to a better degree. I think that would be very important as well. Thank you.
Thank you. Shelley?
Okay, I agree. We have a good school board, and I have to say the school board and the school committee on the commission have worked closely together. When I was the chair and Knox was the chair, we really did work closely. They have done a wonderful job managing their money. As bad as I hate to see them give back 5 pennies, that did save us as the county. It helped us out quite a bit. For those not sure what 5 pennies means, it equates to almost $500,000 that they have now dropped out of their budget to give to our budget. They have done an amazing job remodeling the schools. They have got Giles County High done, Bridgeforth, and they're working on Pulaski Elementary. I would love to see that continue in that path, but as both other school board member hopefuls, that we definitely need to start looking. But something people need to understand is if we decide today to build a new school, we won't step in that school for 10 years. And I say that because it took us almost 6 years to get the renovations going. So do we want our kids in those schools? No. So we need to fix them to the point where the kids are safe, breathing clean air. The windows are nice, and it's not for looks, folks. My hair used to blow in the wind next to the windows. So we needed new windows at Bridgeforth. We need to continue that and look at each school individually. To me, if you have a good environment, they're inside, teachers are comfortable, some wonderful learning will be happening, which, by the way, it's already happening. But
Thank you, Shelley. Ms. Hayes?
While I agree. I think we have an amazing school board, and the fact that they did budget so wonderfully that we had the ability to help the county out. It would have also have been great that money for the schools, allocated for the schools, stayed with the schools instead of us being in deficit. County commissioners could maybe stop taking raises instead of asking the schools to bail them out. But it does show that the school board works so well because it had the funds to do that. What's amazing. And I agree, we do need some new buildings for schools. And then it will take time and it will take money, but it would be great if we start that process. Some point, maybe my grandchild can go to the newly built high school one day, or yours, as many as you have. But thank you.
Ms. White?
Once again, I agree. It was a wonderful thing that the budget was not met. It succeeded. However, like the other people that are on this board, we still have a long way to go. I know that Giles County High School was built probably about 1952. That's a long time for a building to be there. And there's a lot of things that are at Giles County High School that need to be renovated completely. Many years ago, when I first came back to Giles County to live, we had Richland High School. It was the year Richland became a school. At that place, I worked at the vocational department. We had agriculture there. We had cutting and welding there, and we had office machines. I would like to see that expanded instead of our money going back to the county. Because we're preparing children for the future. And we need to have vocational education for these students. Not all students are going to go straight from high school to college. We need to prepare those students who are not going to high school. And I would like to see us invest in those students' future. We have a wonderful TCAT here in Giles County. I would like to see our students prepare, some students prepare for going to the TCAT instead of preparing for them going to college.
Thank you. So we've talked about renovations a little bit. Aside from renovations to the schools, what other goals do you have and how will you work to realize those goals as a school board member? I think we'll start from Ms. Willard on this one.
You did the question. Yeah. For those that are
Aside from renovations, because we've spoken on that a little bit, what other goals do you have and how will you work to realize those goals as a school board member?
I think something that has been mentioned before, maybe not tonight, but that our graduation rate is really good, but the kids going to college, that rate's a little bit lower than I would like to see it. And I'd like to see more kids going into higher education, whether it be TCAT or, a bachelor program. I'd like to provide more support for that, whether it needs to be like extra guidance counselor help, especially for the high schools, and getting more scholarships and grants for our graduating seniors. Thank you.
Ms. Goolsby.
Can you repeat that?
So outside of renovations, are there any other goals that you may have as a school board member for schools, for the students, and how will you work to realize those goals?
First and foremost, I would love for us to work with the State Department and do away with how they figure out the TCAT scores and how they judge teachers on scores that really don't make any sense. And I think we need to work closely, and I know that our school board has done that, and we need to continue that. We also need to continue working on adding to our CTE building and adding more courses. I know my granddaughter is in the pre-nursing field, and she loves it over there. But they've done away with some of the farming and the small machinery. And I think that needs to come back. So we need to start looking that direction. But I think the more we work closely with the state, because it is state mandated, everything we do is state mandated. And we would love to change a whole lot of things of our curriculum, how many days and hours a week we have to do PE. Those type of things affect our education time. And I would love to see us get that adjusted. And the only way to do that is work closely with the State Department and let them hear from us and how we feel. Teacher raises were great. We did it a couple years ago and it was awesome. But I don't think, and they're going to get a raise again this year. But I think we need to continue that. And the path that the school board has done is to help the teachers financially. I always like to see new things at the school, but the renovations have made a difference. And now let's focus on what will help our students directly. And that's it.
Thank you, Ms. Goolsby. Ms. Hayes.
Okay, sorry, repeat it again. I know it's not about what we're doing for the buildings and the structure, but
If you have any other goals for the school system, for our students, what are those goals and how will you work to?
yes,
to
I would
see
love
those?
to see our after-hour programs expanded. I know for a while we had before school and after school tutoring. We need to expand on those where more children can get into the programs, where they have more teachers that have the ability, that are being paid well, that have the ability to help on those situations, whether we need to hire more, and again, pay them livable wages with nice healthcare. But that would be something nice. I would like to see our tutoring sessions and things be expanded more because our readiness rate is low while our graduation rate is high. Our kids aren't ready. So we're graduating them and that's great, but they're not ready. So let's expand on that.
Ms. Wade.
Well, I did a little research and it seems that the last school report card for Giles County High School was not an A+. And there are certain things that we can do as school board members and as citizens to help our schools improve. What the previous Lady Victoria said was that tutoring programs, a concentration more on actual learning and less concentration on testing, and more supports for students who are not getting it. You know, that might mean hiring a few extra people to be educational assistants. But I want to see that our schools I want our schools to succeed. I want them to succeed for the children and for us, because the children are our future. That's all.
Mr. Brewer.
CTE has always been important to me. Back in the day when I was teaching vocational agriculture, what they called it then.
Mm-hmm.
But what we need to look at is to make sure that the kids understand they don't have to go to college. It's a great thing that they do, but because I went to college, then went to TCAT over in automotive and passed the courses over there and graduated from there, and then went back to college. So, and my children, both of them were really good academically, thanks to wherever that came from. Thank you, Lord. But both of them got DR in front of their name. And but the background on that was that my daughter, physical therapist, that she learned in the medical courses over at the high school. And my son is his weed physiology doctor and turf science and that sort of thing got a whole list of things that he got his doctorate in. But it was all because he had the agriculture background from home, but also had the agriculture background at school. So it works hand in hand. And I think every kid ought to have some kind of vocational training throughout their even middle school years and training. We've got some in our middle school, but we need to. I think I've always been for increasing that to get them at an earlier age, because they need to be goal oriented. And luckily, like I said, my kids were both goal oriented. My daughter, when she was in the 5th grade, decided that she was going to be a physical therapist and play college softball, and she did both. So it works hand in hand. Wherever you go, there's somebody that's doing something out here, from whether it's putting on a doorknob or fixing the lights or whatever. So I think CTE is a great deal.
Thank you. I'd like to ask, we talked a little bit about the 5 pennies allocation. Can you explain your thoughts on it, what you understand about that 5 penny allocations? And Ms. Goolsby on the commission.
In the hot seat. In the hot seat. When we set the tax rate, it's set at what the tax rate is. And in that, we have to break it down. It has to be broken up between the highway department, the school system. And when we do that, we say, okay, you're going to get so many pennies. And that number is then exchanged to what 1 penny, which is 97, and I'm not going to get the other 3 digits, and I apologize, because it is kind of nerve-wracking up here, but 97,000. And so when you take that money and multiply it by how many pennies we gave whichever group, then you multiply that and you get how much the school system is going to get from us. One thing to always remember is that Giles County really only funds the school system, and it just depends, it flip-flops back and forth, but about 75% from the state and only 25% from the county. It could be 73-27. It could be 72-28. It just varies each year. So we are really only funding this portion. So when we say that, our portion, and when you take out the 500, that it is a lot out of their budget. Did I think it was a good move? Did I agree with it? I never agree with taking money from the school system. And I didn't agree with it when it happened before, because they never got it back. And my goal would be to beg, and beg new commissioners, old commissioners, anybody who'll listen, to give us back pennies every so often so we get there. I hope I explained it correctly, but whatever you pay in taxes gets broken down into the tax rate.
Ms. Hayes?
You explained it beautifully, by the way. She broke it down. I'll do this a different way. As I said, I kind of gave my opinion on that before. It's great that we have such a budgeted school board that did such a wonderful job. We could help the county when they needed it. But again, if people wouldn't vote to give themselves raises, we might actually not have had to do that. And like you said, I'm against taking money from the schools. We don't have enough. There's never enough money for the kids. So 5 pennies was a lot of money to take from the kids. It's not enough to rebuild a new building for high school. No, but that's a lot of money you took from the kids. While we mull over giving teachers a little bit of a increase with certain stipulations, we had to bail out the county. That's my take on it.
Ms. Wade?
Victoria? We
Right,
must have
let's
been
take a light.
thrown that bird. That's my take also. $500,000 what could any of us have done with $500,000? You know, I would like to have seen that $500,000 go to the school lunch program. I would like to see maybe that $500,000 going to transportation. I would like to see that $500,000 maybe to start a vocational program or something simple like creating chefs. We need to budget wisely, and the school board obviously has been budgeting wisely. Otherwise, they would not have had that surplus. But we also need to spend it wisely in a manner that benefits the students the most, and then teachers and aides and support staff secondly. Because tomorrow, it won't be me doing the work. I'm an old cat. It's going to be the children. They're our future. That's all.
Thank you. Mr. Brewer,
State that question one more time.
what is your understanding of the 5 penny allocation, and what are your thoughts on that?
We saw an opportunity to help the county out. We'd had many pennies taken from us before. And at that particular time, it really hurt. This was a time where we were able to help the county out because it looks like they weren't going to be able to get their budget balanced like they needed to. So we kind of came to their rescue. But we made it understood that 5 was all we could give to them. And we didn't believe that they should be after any more. We're not that 5-gallon bucket they need to be recreating to keep dipping in that 5-gallon bucket of that we do every year of the landowners and property taxes. We're going to have to, and I've told them a long time ago, you keep dipping in a 5-gallon bucket, it's all you're going to get. It's 5 gallons. So we're going to have to come up with some other way to get some extra funds in this county other than making people pay out the nose on their property tax. And it's very important that we wanted to make sure that some of that money went back to the people of Giles County. And because we're doing pretty well. And we've been pretty diligent. And it is through the work of the school board, present school board, that we really got it done. And hopefully we can continue to make that happen.
Thank you. Ms. Wooler?
I feel like this question has been asked and answered, but sure. My understanding is that it was money that was not necessarily like, yes, it was earmarked, but it wasn't necessarily like they had to have it for the school system this year based on the projects for this year. And while the kids should come first 100% of the time, there are also the needs of the community to be considered. I think that the kids should be the priority always, because as the prophet said, they are our future. And but this made sense for the entirety of the community. Thank you.
Thank you. All right. What we'll do is we'll now go down, or I'll give everybody an opportunity, and somebody can jump up and just say they want to go now. But we tried to talk about as much stuff as we could think of in the general way. You guys may have had something that we didn't touch on that you'd like to mention. So we'll give everybody about a minute to just give us the last thoughts from each one of you. And if we don't have anybody, we can start with Ms. Hayes if we want to do that, and just ask anybody that wants to just anything that we've already talked about, anything that you'd like to say, just give us about a minute of that, please.
Don't panic. It's
I'm
okay.
about to say, I got to come up with something off the, look, I was ready for questions. I think we kind of went over most of it to capitalize. We do have a great school board that does well working together. And again, had the ability at that time, as it said, it was the general funds, had the ability to help. Again, if you look underneath why our county is in the negative, that's a bigger discussion we don't have time for. We need to advance our programs. We need to pull our readiness rate up, and we need to teach our kids more. I know quite a few high schoolers this year because I'm a proud parent of a Giles County High School graduate of this year. And half of them don't even know how to, actually probably more than half, don't even know how to write cursive. It'd be nice to bring back basics. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Wade, we'll go to you next.
Well, it's very important that we bring back basics, but we also need to look to what we already have. We not only need to bring back basics, we also need to go forward. We can't keep on looking back behind us. We need to move forward. Tech is big, 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 big. We need to start emphasizing more on, and don't get me wrong, I'm a huge reader. And I love language and art and all these things. But we also need to look forward to being the school where the next beach comes out of. The man who started the beach crop, born here in Giles County. We need students who are going to be entrepreneurs. You know, service merchandise started in Giles County. We need to have agriculture. Everybody knows about Milky Way Farms. Giles Countyans have been innovators for dozens and decades and decades. We need to be innovators as well and motivators, as well as just Giles, just, okay, we're going to do this. Let's keep the same. Let's make some small improvements. We need to look to the past, but then also look to the future.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you very much. Mr. Brewer.
We've got a lot of things to be thankful for in Giles. Number one thing is our kids. And we've got to make sure that the legacy that we're leaving them is the type of legacy we can look back on one of these days and say, we did all we could do. You never can do all you could do, but you want to do as much as you can. And it is very important that our kids, our kids' kids down the road, that they're going to be able to do the things that they can educationally, whether it's vocational or say I'll get caught in that vocational thing because I did it so long, but CTE, military, there's always those, and academics, and all of those run hand in hand, and we got to make sure that those things are available to them anytime they want to. Plus, make sure the parents, if they need any help, then we can give them help to teach their kids. And if they need it, they can come to us and we'll give it to them.
Thank you. Ms. Ward.
The reason I decided to run for school board is because I figure if you want to see change, sometimes you just got to put your shoulder and push behind it. So I live just up the road very close to Giles County High. When about a decade ago, when my kids were getting ready to go into middle school, I looked around at the different schools and I saw that there were a lot of problems with fights happening in Giles County High. And so we have school choice here. You don't have to stay where you're zoned. So I sent them up the road to Richland. Luckily, we had means and opportunity to do that. Because I thought, well, if there's discipline problems in one school, at least we won't have to deal with those if we move schools. So, and it was a hardship on my parents and I to get them up there until they started driving. But what I would like to see is more equity between the schools in the county so that the kids can have the same experience and level of education and opportunities that they would in any school. Thank you.
Thank you. Shelley?
Hey, I do want to circle back real quick on the 5 pennies so that everybody understands. They did ask us to go ahead and remove 5 pennies. But the other thing we did was increase their maintenance of effort. So with maintenance of effort means whatever we fund them this year, we cannot fund them any less next year. So their funding has increased, but that 5 pennies, which was in over collections, would have gone into their fund balance to help towards renovations. That is now, their whole budget is now increased. If it passes at the end of this month, just to let you know, budget hadn't passed yet. As far as everything everybody has said, one of the things that we have to constantly remember is curriculum is set by the state, not by the schools, not by the school board. We can adjust a little bit of this or a little bit of that, but you cannot dictate anything. I even got kind of slapped on the hand for not using the textbook. So, because the textbook was wrong and I had to keep correcting it. But, and Morgan's laughing because she was there. We have to keep just moving forward with our schools, getting them back into shape, looking at the future. And hopefully keep some of our youth here. There's a dentist back there that walked through our hallways. There's an owner of WKSR. Keep them here. Let them come back.
Thank you, guys. Let's give these guys a round of applause. Thank you, guys. Appreciate it. We're going to take a quick break, and we'll get our sheriff candidate, Sheriff Purvis, up here. Everybody, please settle in your seats. Thank you. Yeah. So we're now moving on to our sheriff. I would like to say real quick that Mr. Hale is running for sheriff against Mr. Purvis. He did call today. He had wanted to try to be here. He is sick and just could not make it. And so I did promise him that I would let everybody know that he did want to be here. We do thank Sheriff Purvis for being here. And Sheriff, if you want to, just go ahead and tell us, give us a quick 1 minute rundown about who you are.
My name is Joe Purvis. I'm 52 years old. This is my 31st year in law enforcement. I started in 1995 at the sheriff's office down the street. Sheriff Bass hired me. 28 of those 31 years, 29 of those 31 years were in Giles County. 2 of those years were at Murray County, working for Sheriff George. And I was appointed to the office of sheriff by the county commission in November of 2024.
All right, real quick, explain the duties and responsibilities of the Giles County Sheriff as you understand.
So the sheriff is responsible for keeping the peace, serving all the process of the courts, maintaining the jail. There's a lot of things that go into the sheriff's office that people probably don't realize. Currently, we're providing security at all the Giles County schools with SROs. The state recognizes 9, including the alternative schools. So we have a pretty good partnership. I'm happy with it, with the school board and all the principals. I think that's really valuable to make connections early on with the children. As I said, we maintain the jail. The jail is certified for 126 beds. We this morning had 151 inmates in it. That's pretty typical. We've been as high as 220. We provide security for the courts. We patrol 611 square miles of the county. And when needed, we assist the 5 municipalities that are in the county as well. It's just kind of an overview. There are other things.
Law enforcement, I'm sure, has changed over the years, especially in the past 10 to 20 years. What have you done to keep up with those changes? And what changes do you see coming that are just happening faster and faster?
So with commission approval a couple of years ago, we incorporated body cameras. That was a huge step forward. It was also a large expense to the county, significant expense to the county, but that's one of the biggest impacts of recent years. Over the last couple of years, we have technology. So crime is not about the same things it was about 20, 30 years ago. Technology is advancing, and we have to keep up with that. And so we've invested heavily in technology, software that allows us to, for example, download cell phones. Those technological advances are expensive at times, but they're, for example, we just sent some investigators to the school to learn about cryptocurrency investigations, because a lot of people in Giles County are falling victim to cryptocurrency and online scams. And so those are things that weren't happening when I was a young deputy sheriff, but they are happening now, and we have to stay current on those crime trends.
So there are a lot of different views on how corrections should be handled, right? I'm sure we can talk about that all night, but just for the purposes of what we're talking about tonight, as a sheriff, how do you view the role of the Giles County Jail in the lives of those who are incarcerated, as well as for the community as a whole?
So the people that are incarcerated are someone's child, someone's father, someone's brother, someone's sister. They're human beings, and they should be treated with dignity and respect. They committed a crime. They broke the rules of society. There's a punishment for that. There's a process for that. But while they're there, they should be treated with dignity and respect. I took this job 31 years ago as a young deputy sheriff, and I remember saying, I want to help people. Uh, 20 years ago, I was promoted, got my first rank promotion, right? And so over those 20 years, I was able to interview a lot of deputy sheriff candidates. And every one of them to a person said, I want to help people. That sometimes is easy to forget. But I took this job to help people. And if the only time I can help them is when they're in jail, that's what I'm going to do. There are people in the jail that never need to see freedom again. That's just the fact. But there are a lot of them in jail that need an opportunity. Maybe they need to be taught some job skills. Maybe they need somebody to just believe in them a little bit. We've reduced our recidivism rate, which is the amount of people that return to jail. So I remember when it was 88%. In April of last year, it was 66%. And the last time I pulled the numbers, it was 43. So that a reduction in recidivism translates to somewhat of a cost savings for the taxpayers. Those same people. Now, saying that, a lot of people come back to jail still, and we got 151 people in jail today. New people are turning 18 every day and coming to jail. So I think it's important to make an impact with the young people as quickly as we can to try to avoid that process altogether.
So what are your biggest goals for the department? Especially what would you like to see accomplished in the next 4 years?
Belong to me or any deputy sheriff or anybody else that wants the office. It belongs to the people of Giles County. We can't do our job effectively without community partnerships. We should be a community partner and not an occupying force. So that's a huge goal of mine. That's been a goal and something we've been trying to accomplish, and we will continue to try to accomplish. You can always improve that. I would like to see the addition of some patrolmen. Right now, people don't realize this. Any given day, there's between 2 and 4 uniformed patrolmen patrolling the county, 611 square miles. And everywhere I go, people say, I'd like to see more deputies. I would too. I'd like to see deputies on some of the rural roads more. They're currently answering about 10,000 calls for service a year. And so with 2 or 3, sometimes 4 deputies on the road, some of those small roads, some of those areas, if you don't see a deputy, that's probably a good thing under the current conditions, because that means you have a lower crime rate or lower call for service on your road. But I still would like to see deputies on those roads. And that, unfortunately, that means money. That means exploring grants. That means finding funding somewhere. And right now, the county doesn't have it. So, but along those lines, technology can be a force multiplier. So we need to continue to improve our technology assets because that's the way crime's growing. Crime's about routers now and IP addresses, and those are the trends. Those online crimes, those cyber crimes are really impacting Giles County residents, in some cases large amounts of money, surprisingly. So that's another goal, is to keep advancing those.
Thank you, Sheriff. That seems like we asked you 3 questions, but we got through them pretty quick. So we just like to give you a real, I know it went real fast, didn't it?
Well, did I answer them all? I mean,
Yeah, you did, yeah.
Okay.
So wait. I would still like to give you a chance to hit on anything that we might not have touched on, and maybe just give us a last real quick thought from you on running for sheriff and asking for vote.
So a couple things. I'll tell you, I'm probably the worst guy in the room at this. There are a lot of people that have asked me for signs, and I apologize. I'll get them to you. I got some good friends that are helping me with that. And if I haven't gotten you one yet, I apologize. It's my fault. I want to say something else about the jail and prisoners, though. I've never been in, well, I have been in jail. Sheriff Bass put me in jail during an undercover operation back in the 90s, but I wasn't really in jail. I mean, I knew I was going to get out. I had never been in jail, but I have had a lot of second chances. And I think everybody in the room can probably say that. There are people that never need to get out of jail, but there are a lot more of them that need an opportunity. All right?
Thanks for that, man.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. So we're going to take another quick break. We got our county executive candidates coming up next, so just give us a couple of minutes. of our races, but obviously county executive is one that has gained a lot of interest. We're going to give these guys a little extra time on all the questions, so it will take. We may have it may take a little bit longer, but we're going to give give our county executives an extra minute, executive candidates an extra minute to answer the questions, and maybe just a little extra time at the end to make sure that we get to hear everything from them that we need to as voters. Okay, so I'm going to let Morgan go ahead and get you guys started.
Thank you, guys. We'll take a minute again to let you go through and introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about maybe why you're running for this office. And we'll start with you, Mr. Vanderpool.
All right. Thank you very much. Good to see everybody here tonight. I am Knox Vanderpool, born and raised in Crescent View. Jimmy Vanderpool and the Vanderpool family. I've been here my whole life except for traveling for football and school. I was a graduate of Giles County High School and married my wife of 23 years and plucked her from Linville and Richland High School. Actually spent some time at Richland High School, a short term of using my teaching degree and some coaching. For the last 24 years, I've chased a dream and a vision of my brand and traveled the country. And in doing so, I've learned how to network and work with people on multiple levels, diversification of business. And, I'd be remiss if I don't mention the last 8 years of working on the school board, 6 years as school board chair. And I felt like this was a natural progression for me to step up for the county executive position.
Mr. Jones.
I'm Terry Jones. I've lived here my entire life, born and raised here, married to Tina. Together we have 4 kids. We have 9 grandchildren. I'm a product of the Giles County school system. I went to Richland when in 78, when the schools all come together. My kids have all went to Giles County. Now my grandkids, they're taking their route coming through Giles County schools. I've been a commissioner now for 4 years. Totally involved in politics now. I never want to be a politician, but somehow I've gotten into it, and I know some things and I see some things, and I'm serving. I want to be here. First thing I want to do, I was in the military, and like Tommy Pollard said last night, I want to thank the veterans for allowing this. I want to thank y'all for hosting this, but if it wasn't for the veterans, we wouldn't be able to do this anyway. And I'd like to thank everybody that's involved, and thanks for having us.
Mr. Womble.
Hello, yeah, thank you everyone for being here, and thank you WKSR and Pulaski Citizen for hosting. I'm David Womble, and I'm asking for your vote for the office of county executive. I'm a 7th generation Giles Countyan. Lee and I have been married for 27 years. We've raised 2 daughters, Anna and Sarah, and we now have 1 son-in-law, Cade. I started my public service in 2014 when I was appointed to the school board. I'm now finishing my 8th year as a county commissioner. Currently, I serve as the chairman of the Giles County Commission. In a way, I've been training and preparing for the county executive job through my 12 years of public service. I own my own business here in Pulaski for 20 years. In those 20 years, I've run a business through a recession, and I've run a business through a pandemic, always keeping my bills and my people paid on time. I have the business background and experience needed for this office. Now, I sold my business in 2024, and in the last year and a half, I've been teaching part-time at our local TCAT, giving back to our community, teaching refrigeration and EPA compliance, and thoroughly enjoying it. So again, I'm David Womble, and I would greatly appreciate your vote.
All right, thank you, guys. So this is kind of a standard question we ask, but I think it's always important that the candidates know what they're running for, right? So what is your understanding of the duties and the responsibilities of the county, of the office of county executive? And we'll start with Mr. Jones.
Well, one of the biggest things is you lead the county, you lead the commissioners. First thing, you're not the commissioner's boss. You work with the commissioners. County executive, a lot of people get the misconception that the county executive is over the department heads, is over all the other elected officials. No, the county executive is over the financial management part of it. He works together with the commissioners, works together with the department heads. You've got to have a good relationship with the department heads and the commissioners to get anything done. You try to do your best to lead them in the right direction. Of course, a county executive will not have a vote unless there's a tie, but you do lead them in the right direction. And you do the studying, you do the groundwork, you do all the legwork that you can to make sure that your commissioners know everything that they need to know. And one thing that I will throw out there that I really, really wish we had more of, not throwing darts at anybody in the commission, but I wish we would have more commissioners climb them stairs, because you don't know the budget unless you climb those stairs to go up there and talk to the ladies at the budget department. Nobody's going to come into this office thinking they know more than Beth Sumner's and Shana Woodard. That's their job. They know what they're doing, and they're good at it. That's why I spend time climbing those stairs to go up there to find out. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Wamp?
I see the county executive as the leader of local government. Basically, I will be in charge of all county offices which don't have an elected official, such as ambulance, archives, emergency services, solid waste. As county executive, you appoint members to different boards throughout the county, such as regional planning, the beer board, the agri park. You'll serve as a member of the EDC, Economic Development Department. But first and foremost, you have to be a representative and advocate for our county on all different levels. But the most important thing that I'll do as your county executive is build a solid working relationship with the 21 commissioners. Because I can tell you I'm going to do this and I'm going to do that. But if I don't have a solid working relationship with our county commission, a county executive can't get anything done. And that's where I will focus and that's where I will excel. That's it.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Vanderpool.
These gentlemen did a great job of queuing up what is the understanding of it. I think the number one thing to think about is that we do not have that vote unless it's a tiebreaker. And that sets the stage for putting a leader in place who can advocate, who can lead, who can pull teamwork together and put the commission to work together. We know that 21 folks of any realm or diversity or whatever it may take, it takes effort to put them and get them to work together. I'd have to say that'd be one reason why I wanted to take on this job. It would be similar to when I looked at the school board in 2017 and I saw a dysfunctional group and I saw a school system that was struggling. And I left that meeting that was up in arms, if you will. And I called my wife and she said, well, how was that? And I said, well, I'm running for school board now. And after 8 years of that and 6 years as chairman, I think that I managed to pull a team together. Now, granted, total of 7 is a lot different than a total of, well, counting myself would be 22. But I think the greatest challenge and the greatest focus as a county executive is to lead and to bring those 21 together to move forward. Throughout my campaign, I've said I am a results-driven leader. I live and I thrive on action. And I want to see action. I want to stop the inaction. And I want to help a commission move forward. And I think the right figurehead, the right leader can do that for us. And that's how I see myself operating as our county executive. Not as a standover, not as a pusher, but as a seeker of solutions, and to try to get our county executive, our commission to follow that same suit.
I think you all set it up nicely. Of course, one of the biggest roles of the commission is to set the budget. Can you explain exactly how you will lead the 21 commissioners to set a successful budget? We'll start with Mr. Womble.
We have a great finance department, and we do have an elevator to get up there if anybody needs to get up there. But how will I lead the commission? I'll lead the commission by example. We have to spend every tax dollar wisely. We have to look at every expense. I made some notes for myself. We have to have more grants coming into our county. Growth is super important. We have to focus on growth. But we all have to work together. The department heads have done a great job this year, knowing that there wasn't any room to move the budget, of bringing a budget to us very comparable to what they asked for last year. So working with the department heads and working with the county commission to lead them towards sound financial decisions is what I felt like I've done for the last 8 years, try to lead us towards sound financial decisions. And we take every problem one at a time and address it best as possible.
Thank you. Mr. Vanderpool.
So how do we lead the commission to focus on and create a solid budget, a balanced budget? Well, one of the things that had to happen, unfortunately, last year was to increase the property tax. And in doing so, we had members of the commission who stood in the gap. They stood in the fire. They didn't stand outside of it. And as much as it pained and it hurt us all, it also allowed us to be exactly where we are this year, where we could balance a budget. Now, granted, our highway department still needs work. It still had to use money from its fund balance to do that. But revenues are on the forefront. You know, we look at Exit 14, we look at housing development right now. I believe it's 71 homes have applied for permits just this year alone. 269 in total since 2025. And that does not include homes that are on schedule that have, and subdivisions that the city has just approved, upwards of 192 homes. We had a study done, 727 homes would be needed to complement the growth and the needs that Giles County will need to fulfill by 2030. And we're well over halfway there. Now, we don't have homes coming out of the ground just yet, but those are on the books. And when those finally hit Tommy Hyatt's books and our trustees' books, then we see the gains. And we'll see the gains like we saw this year. Unfortunately, again, we had a property tax increase, but just in this 1 year and with new homes hitting our books, we saw gains on the penny. And we've heard talks about the penny tonight. School board alone saw a gain on the penny of $232,148. So with growth on penny, growth on inflation and sales tax, with a local option sales tax that is fully fulfilled and mandated by the state, it is only natural to give back to our citizens. Not in a bailout form, but the pennies are the county's pennies. So, you know, first and foremost, to get the commission to come together on a balanced budget would be to understand a budget and to understand it fully in and out. I know financial management has wanted to gear up our commission even more and educate them. And that would be, again, a big stake that I would want to make and a claim in my first several months. Let's not enter into a new commission and a new era. I've seen that happen twice so far, and start with expenditures. We put ourselves on the hook for $6.6 million in the first month of the beginning of this last commission. Let's look at what returns revenue, not what costs us money. And I think if our commission understands that through the leadership of the county executive, we can land just there.
Thank you. Mr. Jones?
I'll have to agree with Knox on that. 3 years ago, most of the people in here did not know that the county was as broke as the county actually is. It was not wide published. We did not talk about how broke we were, but we were. We've been taking money, on layman's terms, we've been taking money out of the savings account to make the checking account look good. And you can't do that. You just can't do that very long. And now we're in the shape we're in now. With that said, I'm not a doom and gloom type person. We do have revenue that will be opening up coming in. We've got Mr. Ricky Keith is in here. He can talk about it. We've got 3 subdivisions that are coming in soon. We've got Exit 14. We've got the pilot. Hopefully that pilot will bring more than just the pilot. Of course, we won't see that revenue until 27. Exit 6, you got a new truck stop coming in there, and they will be selling the property across the road for even more to come in there. I think it's a good thing. We've got a good future. What we need to do right now is maintain what we've got now and know the difference between a need and a want. I have voted no on some of these, what I thought was wants. I think the county executive needs to be the type that, like I said before, get all the information and make sure the commissioners are well educated on everything before they just put it out for a vote. And I think that would save a lot and get us in a lot better shape as far as financial.
Yeah. Before we move, your answer is going to hit on this a little bit, but we'll tweak it. We'll tweak this question a little bit so that we can get some more out of you guys about budgeting and funding. But kind of like what Mr. Jones just did, before we move off of this, I'd like to get each of your assessment of what you feel like the county's finances are right now. You can do it in relation to where it's been, to where it's going, but what is your personal assessment of the county's finances, as we're about to go into this brand new fiscal year. And we'll start with Mr. Wong.
I'm a glass half full kind of person. I don't believe that our finances are in a horrible shape. I believe that's a great thing for politicians to talk about. We had over $750,000 worth of growth this year. And we did have $1.5 million budget deficit starting this budget process. With $750,000 worth of growth, cut that deficit in half. Giles County's growing. We have, the Exit 14. Pilot has bought that property. They are going to build a truck stop in 2027. That's going to be property tax dollars. It's going to be sales tax dollars for the county. It's going to be sales tax dollars for the school system. Right now, Shady Lawn Truck Stop is building a new facility across the street from where they've been for years. They wouldn't be doing that if they didn't think they could generate more revenue. More revenue means more sales tax dollars for the school system, for the city of Elkton, and more property tax dollars for Giles County. If you go to Ardmore, you'll see there's a new tractor supply that just opened up on the left, on the Tennessee side. And I wouldn't have thought much about that before I was a county commissioner. But now I look at that and see that's property tax dollars for Giles County. That's sales tax dollars for the school system. That's sales tax dollars for the city of Ardmore. Good things are happening. We need to focus on the good things. We need to nurture them and help them grow further.
Mr. Vanderpool.
My view of county finance as it stands now, I would say that we are on the cusp of greatness. But I'll repeat it again. But that comes off the backs of folks who stood the gap and made tough decisions and decided to be actionable, not tabling things, not using the prior years as they had before, balancing budgets with funds out of savings. Had certain things gone their way last year, we wouldn't have what we have this year. And had certain things gone the way that they were shaping up, because let's face it, we don't have the growth on the penny, and we don't see sales tax gain the way it does, if not for the negative aspects of inflation. It hits our wallets on a personal level, but the state of Tennessee sets that up to try its best, even though it takes a lot, to send money back. And it does that in education. And that's where we see progress, and that's where we see growth. Are we there yet? We aren't. You heard me allude to where the highway department is right now, borrowing from its fund balance. So that will be an elephant in the room for this whole entire year. Also for the highway department, they had to cut the number of roads that they're going to pave. So as a taxpayer, you say, hey, you hit me with 16% property tax last year. Now we're happy and we're making money hand over fist. Well, that's just really not the case. So we still have a lot of work left to do. But in light of the numbers that I gave you a while ago about housing development, about what we're looking at Exit 14, a big thing on my target for Exit 14 is we have to get wastewater treatment built out there. I hope the powers that be are working on that day in and day out to make sure that we can densely, commercially develop Exit 14. If it's just pilot and 2 or 3 other gas stations or one restaurant or whatnot, that's one thing. But if it's densely commercially developed, and thank God for the developers that we have who have invested in Giles County on that property out there, who happen to be Lincoln Countyans. So as we grow forth with that and we see development and commercial development, we get to see a tide turn for Giles County revenue. We're at 23, almost 23 million in property tax revenue right now, and only 1.5 million in sales tax revenue. To have a place like Exit 14 that we can garner and bring in so much more sales tax revenue, that changes the books for us quite a bit. So yeah, we can be glass half full now, but we got to keep the foot on the gas, and we have to work forward. And we need someone who can reach their hand out and get commercial development and get new investors.
Thank you. Mr. Jones, you kind of answered this question with the last one, but I'll kind of throw it to you in a little different light. You talked about sitting up here 4 years ago, whenever we were doing this. You were one of them sit up there.
Right.
Based on what you were seeing, what you thought you knew then, and where you are, what you know now, can you look forward and tell me how you feel about where the county will be going forward based on where you've been? Maybe look at it from that perspective.
It was definitely an eye opener when you first come in 3.5, 4 years ago to where you're at just a couple of years after that. You really get to, if you pick up your book and you read the book, if you look at the numbers and you see everything and you try your best to understand, and you, like I said, you go upstairs and you find out, you have discussions with these ladies, and it's all the ladies. I didn't mean to just name 2 of them, but I can't name all of them. But if you go up there and educate yourself, let them educate you about that. I think we are on the right path. We are definitely on the right path. I think we need to treat the budget every year like it's an election year every year. And I'll just tell you that. Yeah, we need to treat it like it's an election year every year. We need to vote on the needs. We are almost $22 million coming in on property tax. We have 75, 76 new houses coming in this 3 different subdivisions. That's going to also help. We have builders out there. You go down any road in Giles County now, you see houses coming up. So that's going to be new property tax. We should be able to live within our means. We have to do it at home. We have to learn to do it in the government. And that's what the people expect us to do. I know how people feel when they pull up to a gas station on a Wednesday and they think, I hope I'm going to put $20 worth in my car and hope it gets me till Friday till I get my check so I can put some more money in the bank. These people are hurting. 30% of Giles Countyans are living check to check. We can't just say, well, let's just raise the taxes. No, let's look at what we're spending. That's what we do. Well, let's look at what we're spending. We're here to represent every class of people out there. Everybody in Giles County, we're here to represent them. And we have to do our best to represent them. I go to church with a lot of single ladies that's on fixed income. They were always saying, please, please don't raise my taxes. These people cannot handle anything else. Some of us are fortunate enough that we can, but we have to represent those that can't, the ones that can and the ones that can't. We represent everybody. So before you go and put this tax increase on the people that can't, we need to look at this budget. We need to look at these department heads. I think Giles County is bringing in plenty enough money right now to run us like we need to be. I go to these, there's department heads here that will tell you that, I'm not throwing shade at some of these commissions, but you got to go see them. You got to go see them before it's made, before the budget comes up. You need to go see them in November and see how things are going. You got to go see them throughout the year. It's not just when it comes, budget season is a headache. We just went through it. It is a headache. But you got to go see them and be part of them. Let them tell you things. That way it don't just slap you in the face every May. Thank you.
Like a lot of counties, there's several issues that Giles County faces: land use, water, money, of course. What will you prioritize as county executive, and how will you work with the commission to reach those goals? And we'll start with Mr. Vanderpool.
Praetor, again, my number one priority coming into this is going to be to build a team. I come from a football background, a coaching background, and an education background. So prioritize learning our budgets, learning what's ahead of us, and learning what these issues are. If we want to talk about water, we do need to look at alternative water sources, but we have to have a water study. And fortunately, we've received allocations to get that done. And that will require all of our water districts to ante up, to put a lot of skin in the game and give us a real viable feedback on what our hydraulics look like, what our water system looks like, age, and the issues that we need. Through that effort, we will be able to see what we can, what our capacity is, and we'll also get to know a population study, as I understand how a water study works. And in a population study, we now have what we need for additional grants, additional assistance, and tapping into a new water source if we need it. I have heard that the city of Pulaski is operating at roughly a 40 to 50% outtake of water when we're at our max. But the draw right now at Pulaski Water is 5 million gallons a day, but they could draw as much as 7 million gallons a day. if our water study were to show that 7 million would accommodate and allow us to get off Limestone County and help our South Giles utility districts and help Minor Hill utility district and running water all the way up through Campbellsville and helping with those needs and concerns there. But now that we have appropriations for a water study, again, on the glass half full take of things, we can move ahead with that. If you really want to look at water issues, then look north to Murray County, and their water issue comes from overpopulating, overcrowding. I'm not going to say the big Z word, but we're told that over 200 acres a day are removed from farmland and agriculture in Tennessee. If there's 95 counties in Tennessee, let's just do easy math, and let's just say that could potentially be 2 acres a day in Giles County. If we want to see that happen, and we want to see rural Giles County eaten away at and taken by people who can come in easily and write their own rules and disregard any level of home values, then we don't need to put land use management in place. But I think it's something that we really need to look at, both for protecting our roots, protecting Giles County, and getting a head start on our water needs. Thank you.
Mr. Jones?
Water does seem to be an issue that comes up. I personally have been to the 4 of the water districts and talked with them. When we are so fortunate that Clay Doggett was able to get a grant, $500,000 for a grant. Because before that, they were looking at doing a water study where the water districts ponied up into it like he's talking about. I went to these water districts. They'll tell you real quick, we do not have the $125,000. That's a number that was thrown out there that each water district would pony up to do that. And if they did pony that money up, $125,000 in each water district, and then the county come up with the money also, the water districts are going to take that. That's just a backdoor raising your prices. That's going to go right to the people. They don't have that money because right now our water bill has doubled in the last year at Minor Hill. People cannot handle more money. That's just another added tax that we're going to throw to them if we ask these water districts. If we force them, you ain't going to force a water district anyway to give you $125,000 when they tell you up front they don't have it. So real glad that Clay was able to get that money to do this water study. I have went to the office with JJ and sat down and talked to him about water and where we're at. Like Knox said, he's somewhere around 42% pool. We had been told before that it was dire, that they were right at over 100% pool in one of our meetings. So I'm like, how can it be that much variance? So it's miscommunication. Go right straight to the source. JJ knows his numbers. JJ is deeply involved with their water. If he says we're at 42% pool, we're good. JJ has even said, we have a problem out in these districts of leaks. You wouldn't believe some of these water districts have 31, 35% leakage, water loss. You've got to fix the leaks. And like JJ said, if they can get their leaks down to 13, 14%, that still sounds like a lot of leak to me, but they are happy with a 12, 13, 14% leak. If we can get that water leaks down to that, JJ says Pulaski would have no problem supplying Giles County with water. They would he said that they have redone their water reservoirs and everything that they've got, and they're still working on it. They're doing a tremendous job over here of doing that, but we cannot go and ask these water districts to pony up money when they're broke to start with. And all they're going to do is, if that money, they got to get their money from somebody, and it's going to be the people that has the water taps.
Mr. Womble?
Well, as a commissioner, obviously running for county executive, I see that our largest issue today is inflation. You know, what you feel at home, we feel at the county level. Higher insurance premiums, property insurance. You know, the county owns a lot of property. We've got to insure the courthouse and the jail and all the county buildings. Car insurance. You know, we've got a lot of sheriff's patrol cars, a lot of ambulances. Health insurance rates. You know, we've been able to give our employees a raise every year, but a lot of years their health insurance premiums are rising and the raise, it's neutral. You know, if they still bring home the same amount of take-home pay, you don't feel like you get a raise. Health insurance premiums, we have to look at different options for health insurance. You know, higher utility bills, just like you feel at home. Water, gas. The electric bill for our school system this year was $200,000 higher than the previous year. There's no solution to inflation, but we have to understand where the problem's coming from. Cost in the jail, the cost to feed employees, inmates. Brandon Beard told us about this a few years ago, is just astronomically jumping. And I never realized until I was a county commissioner how expensive criminals are to hardworking citizens. It cost over $3.2 million to run our jail this year. And the jail itself is paid for. That's what it costs to run the jail, with the utilities and the people and everything you have to run the jail. Our highway department, Gene brought his budget in with the same numbers in the line items as they were last year. He knew there wasn't any room to increase his budget, but he informed us the amount of money it took to resurface 70 miles of road last year. That same amount of money will only resurface 40 miles of road this year. We have over 900 miles of roads in this county that the county is responsible for. So if you divide that out, that means if you're on a chip road, covered by the county, your road will be resurfaced around every 22 or 23 years. That's not enough. So more than ever, we have to look at and shop for the absolute best value and price when we're spending taxpayers' dollars. Long-term, water. Water is a problem all across Middle Tennessee. Data centers are getting to be a big thing. There's a data center wanting to come into Lawrence County, which requires a lot of water usage. Water is something we need to protect in Giles County because we see water problems all the way around us. We need to protect our water in Giles County. The XCO Ranch in the Linville area has been a big topic, and nobody wants zoning. Nobody wants to be told what they can't do with their property. But possibly a commercial land use management, to cover things like data centers and large, expansions. All these are issues that I'm ready to tackle every day. Thank you.
Thank you, guys. We get to hear a lot of, especially out there on social media in the world, we get to hear a lot about what's wrong with our county, don't we? I mean, and our government. We get to hear about what's wrong with our government. So I thought it'd be good to get you guys to share with voters what you see that's good about Giles County and even what's good about our government. And I think we started with Mr. Vanderpool that time. So let's start with Mr. Jones.
Well, I love Giles County. That's why I'm still in Giles County. That's why you hear about people that have left. They always come back home to Giles County. Giles County is an agricultural county. I love to be able to ride these back roads and see farms. I don't want to see our farms turned into concrete pads. I'd love to see our farms taken care of. See it here for my grandkids to be able to ride the back roads and still be able to see that. Giles County is a beautiful place. I hear a lot of people talk about wanting to grow this county to be the next Murray County or be the next Franklin. I personally, I'm going to let you know that it may cost me some votes. I love Giles County. I love the small town. I think we need at least one more good industry in here that's competitive rates with the industries we have now to get our unemployment on down where it needs. Then the next thing we really need to focus on, ladies, listen to this, retail. We need some more retail. And I know the retail is mostly going to go in Pulaski, but it's going to be property taxes for the county. I think the county will benefit from having more retail to come in here. I love it. I think we are tickled. We're tickled we got a Waffle House. We are excited that we got a Waffle. Other counties, that's just a normal thing, for another county. But here, we're tickled we got a Waffle House. And I'm tickled for that. I love Giles County, and I want to see Giles County grow, but still preserve the Giles County that I grew up with. I think, is that?
Yeah.
All right, thank you.
If anything you want to say that's good about Giles County, I just wanted, because like I said, we all get to hear plenty of bad. So.
Well, I also see the thing written in here about what's wrong with our local. Our biggest challenge in local government, I feel, is communication. I really feel like it is. I'm going to go on record saying this is the stupidest rule, the Sunshine Law. I see some of my commissioners. Dear friend of mine, Evan, we just went through budget, but guess what we couldn't talk about? We couldn't talk about budget outside that courtroom. We need to be able to talk. That Sunshine Law, I think, is the dumbest thing. It's not for anybody else. You go to Nashville legislature, they can talk outside, they can go to lunch, they can talk, they can discuss what do you think we need to do. But here in a local government, me and Evan would get in trouble. I don't know what kind of trouble it'd be, but we're not allowed to talk about anything outside of that courtroom over there, open meetings. I think we need, communication is the worst thing I see about our local government, and truth. We need truth and facts put out there. Thank you.
Mr. Wample, once again, we get to hear a whole lot of bad of what's going on there. That's kind of human nature to focus on what's bad. So tell us what's good about Giles County and what's good about our government.
Well, I'll brag on our local government. You know, we came together this year knowing we had a budget process, knowing that we needed to work through that process. Evan Bedore was our budget chairman this year, and he did a great job. When we need to come together, we come together in this county. And the citizens of this county are the strength of this county. You know, when someone's sick and you go to spaghetti supper, and because there's 400 people there that brought spaghetti and desserts, and there's more than anybody can eat, the way people come together in Giles County when we have to. The problem is we separate, and then come together when we have to. We have to stay together. Did that answer your question?
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you. Mr. Vanderpool?
You know, social media is tough, and people go to knee-jerk reactions. They want to listen but not understand, and through that, it also puts our feet to the fire to thoroughly explain, to take up for our different departments, to process the good things and to point the good things out. Since I'm coming from the school board, I'll speak to that. We do have an amazing school system, an amazing director of schools. She may come under fire at times, but she does it with grace. She is relenting in her pursuit, and I think other department heads are of that same caliber. But our school system, as it fights state mandates and state laws, I heard Ready Graduate mentioned earlier. Well, guess what? Ready Graduate is a matrix that the state of Tennessee is throwing away, and they're going to term it a new route. And it's a CCR data point, and we are almost 50 or 60% higher in that measurement than we are in the Ready Graduate rate. So it's a moving target, but we have 561 employees in our school system who fight that fight daily and take to task the raising of children and putting the best and the brightest in front of us. Again, that's where I see that I want to come to the commission, to come with leadership, to come with knowledge, to come with truth, to avoid conflict. Conflict was talked about last night. How do you deal with conflict and whatnot? Well, one thing is don't create the conflict. Don't add fuel to the fire. And I just want to see Giles County continue to be the shining gem that it can be, and it truly is. We've heard it over and over again. We are the land of the milk and honey, but I think we've forgotten how we got that title, and we can get back to that. And as we see development, as we see suitors come to us, as we see investors come to us, as we have leadership and unity and collaboration working together, then we can take on those investors and make Giles County shine yet again. So take the negativity and ball it up like this sheet of paper, and let's throw it in the trash can, because we are a vibrant and positive and awesome community.
Thank you. We're going to take a minute to wrap up. Any final thoughts, maybe anything that we didn't ask you, maybe about a minute and a half. And we can start with Mr. Wample.
I was expecting you to ask me what I would do different once I got in office. Do you want to ask me that question right quick?
What did you do different, David?
One thing I want to see is a grant writer added to our staff.
Yep.
Someone that gets out of bed every morning focused on bringing money, grant money into Giles County. I hope you've all heard about the $500,000 that we got for structure grant at the courthouse, $300,000 from the Bissell Foundation for an animal shelter, $400,000 for more help with our downtown structure and buildings. If you didn't add that up, that's a $1.2 million that have come into our county within the last year. I want somebody hunting the next $1.2 million worth of grant money. You know, we need more sales tax returned from the state. Currently, when you pay your 9.75% sales tax on something you purchase in Giles County, 7% of that goes straight back to the state. If they would just let us keep just a little bit more of that, it could make a small percentage could make Giles County. You know, the other 2.75% of the 9.75% sales tax is divided between the school and the municipality where it's collected. That's what makes interstate growth even so much more important. Because if you spend the money in Pulaski, the Pulaski keeps the sales tax. But for the county, interstate, any sales tax we collect on the interstate is in the county. It's not in a municipality. So the sales tax collected at the interstate, new hotels, new truck stops, whatever we have, it comes to the county coffers. And sales tax dollars can be used to offset property tax dollars. And that's why interstate growth would be so good for everybody in this room. I was prepared for this question. I'm glad you asked it.
Yeah. You should be hired at the radio and the paper because you're a good journalist. I'll take that question. I'll ask you the same thing.
And let me finish. And I look forward to working with our state representatives. Clay Doggett and Joey Hensley do a great job for us. And I look forward to working with them, on getting some of that sales tax dollars back. They're going to be sick of seeing my name on the caller ID. But I'll stop there.
Knox, final thoughts, and what would you do different?
What would I do different? When I started this campaign and made this decision to run last July, I said I was doing it for the folks who are out there working hard. Again, I'm going to keep saying it, who's standing in the fire, who want better than average for Giles County. Because as we increase our quality of life, as we honor our seniors, as we honor our children, as we honor the folks who got us here, as we work for safety and security and health, as we increase quality of life, then quality of life around us will develop. And it will give investors and more people the opportunity to help us fund what we have established. When we get sales tax dollars, that's from consumer spend. And if we're developing our exits, especially those who are not already annexed to, say, Ardmore or Elkton, then we get to gain the benefit of that. And that means we're getting dollars off of passers through as opposed to the backs of our property taxpayers. So what would I do different? I don't know that I would do anything different of how I came to this point or where I'm at. What I want to do is take this horse by the reins and ride it into the future. Giles County has growth ahead of it. We are very fortunate that we are, if you will, insulated by our hills and our floodplains. And I think if we have a leader at the forefront extending his hand to bring industry in here, to bring commercial development, to bring retail in here, then we can see growth that we haven't seen before, but we can see it without inundating our rural way of life, without hurting agriculture. And just real quick, and I'm waiting for this number to come back, but between 2017 and 2022, $76 million in spending was brought in because of agriculture. Think about that, $76 million. So next year, we're going to see another figure. And I want to see our agriculture remain vibrant and keep supporting Giles County the way it does. Thank God for Giles County. I'm a results-driven leader. I operate on action. Growing our economy is going to lessen our taxes, and that's what I've been focused on since day one.
Terry, final thoughts and maybe what you
All
would
right.
do different.
I'm gonna say this: you got three guys up here on the stage that are all wanting what's best for Giles County. We just have a different approach, maybe, or a different idea. It's not that his idea is wrong or his. We all have a different idea on what we want to do to lead Giles County to that goal. Everybody wants the same ending. We want to make it better. David did hit on the revenue from the state. Back in 2004, the state had gotten in very bad financial shape. Well, what they done, they're the state. They can do whatever they want to. So they kept more of the sales tax that the counties get, all the counties and municipalities. Well, they're big brother. They don't have to give it back unless they want to. But now, over the years, since 2004, every county and every municipality is suffering because of that. I've already got a message I can show you to Joey Hensley, to Clay Doggett, working with them, but we need to reach out to all representatives, every one of them. We have got to somehow start getting, if we could get just a little bit of that money back, we would be in so much better shape. We wouldn't even be talking about tax increase if we could get just a little bit of that money back. And that's very important. But how do you do it? I mean, you just got to keep on, like Dave said, you got to make it to where they just hate seeing your name on the caller ID. You just got to wear them out, not just from commissioners, also the people. They're not just the commissioners' representatives. They're everybody's representative. So we all need to team up and just wear them out. Not their personal cell phones, their business phones. I know how that is. I take calls as a commissioner. I take calls from every district in the county, and I love it because guess what? I may be a District 2 commissioner at this point, but every vote that I do affects the entire county. So you're representing the entire county. And with that, another thing I'd like to see done before we come back here 4 years from now, put some dimmer lights up here. I promise you can't see anybody out there.
All right, thank you. Well, if we did that, we wouldn't be able to see you, Terry.
I know it. I know it. That might be a good thing.
All right. Well, thank you, guys.
Are we doing closing statements or?
Yeah, we could go ahead. Yeah, that was kind of, but yeah, we'll go back and do about a minute and a half worth of closing.
Okay.
We'll start with Knox.
I thought those were closing statements.
Yeah, well, they kind of was, but we
David's got an agenda.
we threw that question in there on
I
you.
do.
He just wants to talk more than we do.
Well, I didn't get my grant writer info into the debate anywhere else. I didn't.
All right.
But I'll give you my closing statement because I'd like to tell you a little bit more about myself. You know, life's about timing. My girls have grown up. I've sold my small business. I have the time to commit to this office, and I'll be in office, every day. I've spent the last 30 years working toward my personal and my family's success, and I want to dedicate the next 4 years of my life working for my neighbors and my county's success. We're all called to use our talents and serve others, and I feel like being the county executive is the best way for me to do that. And with 12 years of public service and 20 plus years owning my own business, I feel like I have the background and the experience needed to excel in this position. And I'm David Womble, and I'm asking for your vote.
Thank you. We'll give you other two guys a chance to do the same thing. Just about a minute.
I think I've put it out there who I am, what I believe in, and where I come from. I think my character speaks for itself. I think my resume speaks for itself. I think the progress that I've made in this county thus far, simply with the school board, with coaching, with teaching, with mentoring, speaks for itself. I have 3 children that are in the school system here. When I got on the school board, I knew that I needed to figure out, do we stay here? Do we work here? Do we live here? My wife drives 160 miles round trip every day. So Pulaski is a suburb to her, if you will, of Murfreesboro. I don't know how she does it, but she does it because she believes in Giles County. She believes in what we've staked here. She believes in our investments here. She believes in what our kids are doing here. And I believe just as much, if not more. So I would appreciate your vote. I would appreciate if you are on the fence that you look at knoxvanderpool.com. You look at my Facebook page. You do that with all these candidates. Put some research into it. See how consistent things are. See how well we communicate. And again, all elected officials who are on the ballot this year. Do your research. Do your homework. Take the time, and it'll go a long way. And I sure would appreciate your vote.
Thank you, Mr. Jones.
I'm just a simple person, simple man. I'm not up here trying to act like I've got it all together and I'm the perfect person. By far, I'm not. I'm here to represent every person. I've never, look at my voting record for the last 4 years. I've never changed just because it's an election year or anything like that. Pressure don't get to me. I'm always going to be for the people. That's what's best for the county. You can do both. You can be for the people and what's best for the county. This season right here, we've been hearing for 9 months, there is absolutely no way to balance a budget unless we pass that wheel tax. It's been preached to us. No, you start with that budget. You go to and I'm going to repeat myself, you go to them department heads and talk with them. We've got excellent department heads and they've done a great job. I would appreciate your vote. I'm here. I take calls from everybody. I'm here to represent everybody. I appreciate your vote, Terry Jones.
All right, let's give these guys a round of applause. Great job. To your seats. go ahead and get to your seats as we get ready to get our District 2 County Commissioners here. Oh, you're good, good. District 2 County Commissioners Harold Young and Brandon Beard. As soon as we get everybody settled in here, we'll get started. I need an organ. Start playing the organ, everybody, like at church, right? If the churches even have organs anymore? Yeah, okay. Okay. All right, here we go. These are District 2 County Commission candidates, Harold Young and Brandon Beard. Thank you guys for being here. Let's start off with each of you giving us about a minute just to introduce yourselves to us. Mr. Beard, go right ahead.
For the Giles County Sheriff's Department for 34 years, before retired in 2024. Served as alderman for the city of Minor Hill since 2002, I believe. Go ahead.
Well, I'm Harold Young. A lot of y'all don't know me. I've been a resident of Giles County for 21 years as of this past March. I was born and raised around Decatur, Alabama, Morgan County, Alabama. Lived there most of my life until I moved up here, except what time I was in the Army and then the Alabama National Guard. I retired from Thompson Tractor Company, the cat dealer down in Alabama, where I managed 2 branches, the branch in Tuscumbia and the branch by Calhoun College over there. I pastored 2 churches. I pastored Dunn Methodist in Leoma and Highland Methodist, just as you go on the trace towards Waynesboro, and led those, helped lead those churches to disaffiliate from the United Methodist Church, and we're now incorporated there. I've got many years of experience in budgeting, managing people, and I came here a couple of times in the 80s when my uncle bought this property, and then it was offered to me, and I bought it with a handshake. My wife and I, Sheila, I've got 2 sons. She's got a son and daughter. We're raising our granddaughter. We've had her for the last 6 years, and I finally retired from Thompson Cat, and I wanted to continue my servitude towards the public. This is the last place that we can locally affect business in the county. We can affect locally, and the citizens here can do that. And I thank you for allowing me to be here tonight.
All right, thank you guys. Questions are going to be, you got to watch last night, pretty much the same questions that we had. So we'll start off with the one, the county commission sets the budget each year, and over the past several years, the commission has had to use reserves to fully fund the budget. So first of all, do you see that as a problem? And second of all, how do you propose the county commission balance the county budget each year within its means, as people talk about? And then finally, as part of your answer, if you think cutting government services is a part of that equation, what would you be willing to cut to avoid raising taxes? Start with Mr. Young this time.
It is a definite major issue when you're taking money from savings to pay your bills. I had to make that decision after I retired when my granddaughter came to live with us, because I could see I was going to outlive my savings, so I had to remove her from private school. She just completed her first year at Minor Hill in the public school system, and we really enjoyed it. So I had to make decisions to spend less, change the way I spent, and it's an absolute problem. You're going to run out of money. Your savings is not going to last forever, especially if you're not investing it somehow, if you're not getting a return on that money, if it's just sitting in the bank, not returning investments. I've led both of my churches to invest their money in short-term CDs. $100,000 6 months ago would get you a $5,000 return. It's better than sitting there, but a build for the future. And if we don't stop drawing from our reserves, one major catastrophe in this county could wipe that out, could totally wipe that out. That's just the way it is, the facts. And we didn't get in this situation in the county over the last 4, 8, or 12 years. It's been over a long period of time. And I'm not going to call it mismanaged, but it's like, I'll have to say what Terry said, we've got to put our needs ahead of our wants sometimes. And so it is a major problem.
cutting taxes to cutting services, I don't see where we need to do that. You have got a new department chief that came in, and I'll say it, the ambulance service. Evan was gracious enough to ask me to come to the budget meetings, but I had plans to be out of town already for 6 months, so I couldn't come and participate and see what was going on. But I was told that they go, and it's really watched. We had a department head come in the ambulance service and cut close to $200,000 off of that budget without doing anything to services. So there is money to be saved. I learned it in business. When you're scrutinizing, you look, are we right size? Have we got the right amount of people? Are we paying overtime because we don't? There's many things. Put vendors against themselves. Make them compete. Save every dollar you can, and we can do that without cutting services to the county.
Thanks, sir. Mr. Beard?
Yes, sir. I agree with him. It's hard working a budget at the county. I've been there, but yes, it can be cuts made. Last year, some of the departments made cuts. Some of them asked for more people. And there's some more stuff put in the budget that probably could have been held off. But a few of the departments done what they were supposed to last year and cut their budget to help try to make it go through without the property tax raise. And I appreciate that, the ones that did, and some of them opted to ask for more employees. I'm stressed, Terry and all the Knox and David, they all said, you need to know what the budget ladies do. Go up there and look. Don't just go say, hey, how much is so-and-so's budget? Look at it line by line. I worked it for 6 years. Look at them line by line. It's way to save money if you'll work with the department heads to do it. I cut 1 year. I cut enough out by getting a new medical company to come in. We saved several $100,000. I was able to give an extra 3% raise to the employees and still turn in a good chunk of money to the county. But yes, it's ways to do it. Work with them. Know what they're spending the money on.
Thank you. We hear a lot of chatter on Facebook sometimes. How will you as a commissioner make sure the citizens of Giles County are hearing the truth about what is going on and not what people may think is going on in government?
You know, I'm out in the public all the time in my area. I will tell you, you may not like to hear it, but I'm going to tell you the truth. And another thing, thankful to the citizen in WKSR, y'all running the meetings. People have a chance to see firsthand what they're doing. But just be forefront. If you got a problem, go ask your commissioner to break it down for you. I've got open lines to anybody. It's not like I'm a hidden turtle in Minor Hill. I'm out somewhere every day.
Thank you, Mr. Young.
Yeah, I hear all this stuff. We hear the good old boy system. We hear they're taking bribes on the side, and I don't believe any of that's true. There's no evidence of that. Where we have failed, and I'll include our commission, is, well, they don't understand what's going on. In my point, and I said it to Evan in the last meeting that I was in, well, why don't they? That's the commissioner's fault. And my plan is to have a town hall meeting once a month, paid out of my pocket. Part of my great, tremendous salary they voted on if I get elected of $300 a month. And have an open forum with the public. And if you educate your public and show them what's going on and the cuts that these departments are making, and allow them to make an educated decision, because we're all no tax. My property taxes went up 115.56% in 21 years. And if I live another 10, it's going up another 56, 57% according to trends. But if you are open and honest and transparent and communicate with your constituents, and the Minor Hill Community Center only costs you $110 a day to rent. And I'm willing to do that and have the executive come, whoever that may be, other commissioners from the district, any citizen from the county, other commissioners come in and invite your citizens and inform them so they can make an educated decision and stop all this foolishness. Good old boy network. Oh, they're getting back kickbacks. You hear it all. And I have not seen any evidence of that, and I don't believe that. But when the public is educated, and they're involved now, folks, you know they are. You may not like it. And they come to the meetings and they bring up and they question and they beg us not to raise taxes. And we've got to offer them the opportunity to be educated and allow them to make an informed decision on how they want us to vote as commissioners.
This is going to kind of piggyback on that thought. So how would you as a county commissioner handle the conflict that arises at times between what's best for the county, but what might not be what your individual constituents want.
Well, that's a tough thing because if I'm elected, I'll be elected by the constituents of District 2. But along with that, as Terry Jones has said and other commissioners, I represent the whole county as a whole. Educate them. Allow them to understand the situation we're in, why this may need to be done or what we could do to make it better. I'm not aligned with any party. I'm not aligned with any business. I'm not aligned with any group of people. I'll be aligned with the citizens of District 2 first and the citizens of the county. And as tough as it may be, I'm going to vote their will, not what I want. But in order for them to understand what's going on and to inform me how they would want me to vote, they need to understand what's going on, the budget situation, the shortfalls, the surpluses, all of it, and then tell them the cuts. You know, we had a big, some folks really had a disdain for the ambulance service because their budget showed their salaries and wages and all in overtime only. It wasn't broke out into separate budgets. And once Walter broke that down, it wasn't all overtime. It was all salaries and budgets. And then he restructured to where these guys are not getting the overtime they were getting. And if you educate and then you tell your constituents, hey, this department head did this, this department head cut this, and show them that we're doing our best to watch over our money, the citizens' money of Giles County, you'll find it an easier time, and some of this negativity in these comments will go, because I owe allegiance to nobody but the citizens of Giles County and my constituents of that county.
Thank you. Brandon, your thoughts on that?
I'm going to work for my constituents, but you know, it may come a time, you're right, Mr. Young explained it. If you'll break it down and get with department heads, find out why, and we need it, and explain it, and try to explain it to your constituents. I can see it. I mean, I hope, you know, they've talked about industry coming. I hope it's coming so we can stop the property tax act.
All right, so as this will be the final thing, we'll let you guys just kind of give us about a minute or so just to kind of wrap everything up. We'll start with Brandon.
I wish the people in District 2 would get more involved in the commission. The last couple of years, it's been more and more run, and I hope it continues that way, because you need good change every now and then. You need new people to come in, but you also need somebody that's going to take the time to look at budgets and know what's going on in department head, you know, and go from there. And if you'll entrust me for 4 years with your vote, I would appreciate it, and I will do my best to hold your tax rate down.
You know, I'm not the most educated guy. I've got a high school education, a couple of technical school degrees, but I come from the education of hard knocks. And you may be smarter than me, but I promise you won't outwork me. And we as a commission have got to stop fighting each other, making condescending remarks towards each other, work together, because working together as a full commission of 21 people plus the executive, there's no limit to what we can do in the county. But this negativity, these condescending remarks, these infighting, and I've seen it. I've been to meetings. I've seen commissioners look at each other like they could kill each other. And that shouldn't be that way. We're all working for the people of Giles County. When we understand the left and the right is part of the same bird, we can work together. The division is intentional, and we will accomplish nothing with infighting and bickering. We've got to work together and communicate and have the straightforward vision of improving Giles County.
Thank you. Let's give these guys a round of applause. Thank you.
Well, you need something hot. Yeah.
We're going to take a lot quicker break this time than we did last time. We're going to get our District 4 commissioners set up. Our District 4 commissioners, we are going to take a quick break, but it's going to be quicker than the last one. Candidates. From left to right, Roger Reedy, Matthew Hopkins, Randy Blair, and Virginia Ledoux. Once we get everybody situated, we'll get started. All right. As we have with everybody else, we'd like to give everybody a minute to just introduce yourself real quick as we get started. We'll start with Mr. Reedy.
Thank you, sir. I'm Roger Reedy. I'm a native of Giles County, lived here all my life, except for the time that I went to school in Cookville for 4 years. And I love Giles County. I was raised up on the southern part of Giles County down around Manor Hill till I was about 12 years old. And we raised up on a kind of a middle 30s type farm where we had a cow, a pig, and a chicken and a duck and cotton to pick. So I didn't want any more of that. So we came to live in town, educated at Tennessee Tech. I received a degree in chemical engineering, worked in heavy chemical industries. I can't read that.
If I hold it up, you're running out of time.
15 seconds. Okay. And I've been a commissioner for 24 years. Started out with the goal of, because there was no control of adult businesses in the county. And also at that time, people thought that the school board was using all the money and the county commission had their knees on the throat of the school board. So my two objectives was to try to regulate adult businesses and get relief for the school system.
Thank you, Mr. Reedy. Mr. Hopkins.
My name is Matthew Hopkins. I've been a commissioner for this past term, so going on 4 years. I've spent all those years on budget committee, and I have been educated more than I thought I could be. I had no clue about how everything worked when I went in. I thought we controlled a whole lot more and had a whole lot more power than we do. But I've been educated, and I've done my best to keep costs down as best as I can and keep services where they are. And if you'll give me the opportunity, I'll continue to do that. I've not voted for huge increases in spending or anything else, and my record would show that. Thank you for time to listen to me.
Mr. Blair.
As a resident of Giles County, I'm Randy Blair. I'm running for 4th District County Commissioner. I worked for City of Franklin for 24 years and 3 months. I recently retired July 2024. I was a Class B CDL instructor. I trained 100 people, and they all passed first time because I was thorough in my training. You can't get nothing by the DMV. And when I came back, I watched a movie called Heartbreak Ridge. Clint Eastwood was in it.
I need 10 other people to go along with me. And that's something that I need the rest of you to do for me, and to vote in other commissioners that are willing to take a hard line stance and make sure that we have a balanced budget and don't spend money we don't have to. We spend tons of money every year on things that we shouldn't, like nonprofits. We give away a lot of money. We can't balance our budget, but we're happy to give your tax dollars away. I think that's wrong. And I've not voted for any of that, and I won't going forward. Thank you.
Mr. Blair?
Yes, they're taking in not enough money to cover their expenses. And what they really need to do as far as cutting the budget, they need to cut the commissioner's pay back to where it's normal at, where they are now, and use that as part of the budget instead of cutting everybody else's, because they're giving themselves nearly 100% raise and the other ones are getting cut. What's the commissioner cutting? So that's part of the problem. And as far as, I like to get the communities involved, so we can take them to the town hall meetings and tell them what's up ahead that we're going to be voting on, and give them a light of what's coming down the pipe and get their viewpoints so we'll know how to make a judgment call when we go to that meeting, and have them show up at the meeting. And what I think about it.
Could you repeat the question one more time?
Yes, it's a long one.
That's okay.
The commissions have used reserves to fully fund the budget. First, is that a problem? What would you do to help commissions balance the county budgets? And if you did have to make cuts, what would that be?
So it is a huge problem. I think that if I made cuts, I would agree with Mr. Blair. I would definitely cut the commissioner's pay back to what it was. Also, as commissioner, if I get elected, I would do the job for free for the Giles County people. I don't think that it has to be a paid position. And that's my opinion. I think that Giles Countyans ought to be strong advocates for our shelter. If we lose our shelter, we've lost a lot. I think that the shelter's been an integral part of the community, and that's what I have to say.
Mr. Reedy?
Yes. For years, we have spent more than we've taken in because we've heard the steady drumbeat of cut costs and no more taxes. And we all kind of bought into that. But then in 2002, we had 39% of our roads were dirt roads. We called them gravel, but when it rained, cars ran over them, the gravel went into the mud and became dirt roads. And we began to look at how we were declining. So I'm kind of defending the fact that we spent the hospital money. In the 90s, we sold the hospital for $15 million. We set that aside. We held that at a cherished item and not taking any out of it. Then in about 2005, we had to put all that money into the general fund as a state mandate. So we did that. Once we did that, it began to dwindle down because we were trying to get all of our roads. I think we've gotten almost all the roads paved right now in the county, tar and chip. And if we don't build infrastructure, we're not going to prosper. Infrastructure has to be there. So we have been doing, I think, pretty good at balancing the budget with no new taxes. And I know the last tax raise was a horrendous thing, but we'd be $3 million in the hole right now if we had not raised those taxes. And we haven't had to raise taxes, but only once in the 24 years I've been there. So I see that we can continue what we're doing, but we have got to have more revenue base. We've got to have a group of ideas to raise revenues, and we've got to find at least 11 people that support those ideas.
Thank you. So next question that we've been asking is, so how can you as a commissioner make sure that the citizens of Giles County are hearing the truth about what's happening with their government and not just what other people think is going on or maybe some stuff that might not be true? And I think we're ready for Mr. Blair to start this one.
Me?
Yes, sir.
Oh, cool. Well, I think we could put a ad in the paper for one, what the commission's gonna be voting on, and ask them to attend the meeting. We can have them voice their opinion in the meeting. We can put on the radio what's going on in the meeting. We can have town hall meetings, invite the people down to the town hall meeting and have a discussion with the constituents of the district. And then we can make, when we go to that commission meeting, they'll know what we're voting on. And the radio and paper is good. It's better than some of those things I've heard about.
Yeah. All right. You got any more, Mr. Blair? Is that it?
Is it?
Okay. All right, Ms. Ledoux.
So first of all, I would get the people into the commission meetings first. Second, I would get out there into the communities to discuss the issues. And I would also have town hall meetings, but we have to address the aging population because these are the people who don't connect with social media. For the old people, there's nothing social about social media. So there's plenty of bulletin boards in the towns. I could think of 15 of them. Make flyers and put them on the bulletin boards and let our older folks be a part of this equation.
Okay. Mr. Reedy.
Well, what we have done previously, we've had, when special issues come up, we've called people together and talked about it with kind of like a town hall meeting. In our community, Matthew and I attend the local community group that meets quarterly.
Yes, sir.
And they're always interested in what's going on, so they give each of us an opportunity to get up and talk about what's happening. And you know, when we talk about lack of revenues and why we got to where we were, a lot of the people in those meetings supported we'll look at wheel tax. Don't give us any more property tax if you got to go up. So that's kind of where some of that grew out from. Thank the Lord we were able to balance the budget without any kind of tax increase. But it's not a long-term solution what we just did. It is going to kill us because we have put the highway department into a death spiral. They're using their fund balance and paving less roads, and the roads that are not getting paid the life of them will not last until they can get paid. So I think that we have got to really look at and inform the county of where we really are. And I think that's what has happened this year, that people have really understood for the first time that the county coffers are getting low. Inflation is a big piece of that. And that's going to continue. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Hopkins.
Okay, to get people to know what's going on, you have to give them an opportunity to have access to you. To my knowledge, I'm the only commissioner that's had a town hall meeting. I've had two. I would like to have them more often than that. But I believe that's integral to making sure people know what's going on, giving them that opportunity. Another part of that is, hey, if you want to know what's going on, look at the county's website. Every commissioner's phone number is there. You can call on any of us. And I know I always answer if I'm working, because I'm one of those that still has a day job. So I'm one that I might have to return your call later, but I will call you. I will return your call. I don't care which district you're in, really. I mean, when you call, I don't know where you live. I just answer and assume you're in my district, and I'm here to help you. The other thing is that we desperately need to do, and we've tried, and some of us have tried and failed, but we need to have the meetings outside of business hours so that the majority of people have the opportunity to attend. But our commissioners don't want to do that, not the majority of them. So we're having meetings at 9 o'clock in the morning during the day, and we think that the people can attend? We can't. That's a problem, and I would love to resolve that. Mr. Reed and I both tried to change this to 5 o'clock or later so that the people can attend and can be informed. Unfortunately, as we've already said numerous times today, you have to have a majority. We have to have 11 people to agree to that, and we don't have that right now, unfortunately. Thank you.
So how will you as county commissioner handle the conflict that ultimately does arise between what is best for the county as a whole and maybe what individuals or constituents actually want? And I think Ms. Ledoux was something you.
So I think that first you've got to find the common ground to those two issues. And I think that you have to take a broad look at the picture of what the needs assessments are in the county. Haven't been commissioner, so that's the one thing I would look at closely, because if I'm elected commissioner, I'm not going to be a commissioner for the Giles County people, but I will be a commissioner with the Giles County people. And I think that's the biggest part of it.
Mr. Reedy?
Yes. You're talking about how we handle conflicts that arise between commissioners or between making decisions.
Between what you may think is best for the commission and maybe
Okay.
if your
I
constituents
understand.
may be
Okay. Well, I'd like to address both of them if I've got time. First of all, we've got to understand the form of government that we have. We're not a democracy. We are a republic. As Ben Franklin said, you've got a republic if you can keep it. And that means that somebody elects you as a representative for them. If you want to vote what the people want, you're in a miserable spot because 50% want you to do this and 50% want you to do the other thing, so you can't do it. So what you've got to do is weigh all the evidence and weigh the decisions and look at what is best for the people and what is best for the county and try to merge those together. You never come out with a decision that is exactly all for the people and exactly all for the county. In politics, you merge everything together, and everything you have comes out with some kind of a mix of those two ideas. And then that's what you have to do. And then you have to make the decision yourself. You can't palm off your responsibility to someone else. You have to make that decision and live with the consequences, whatever it is. You have to make that decision and live with it, because if you make the wrong decision, you don't sleep. It's not from phone calls, it's from the voice in your head.
Thank you. Mr. Hopkins?
Okay, so you from my standpoint, if I'm elected, as I was this past time, I'm elected to do what's best for the county. That's why I was put into office, and that's what I focus on. Now, we already talked about educating people and letting them know what's going on, because a lot of times I've had people call and complain about the way I voted, and then I explain why I voted the way I did, and they went, "Oh, well, now that makes more sense. I didn't know the underlying facts. Now that makes more sense," and I agree with you. And when it comes to what's best for the county as whole or individuals, I don't think anybody in here would disagree with the fact that we all hate property tax, right? So would everybody in here vote to eliminate property tax? Yes. Is that good for the county? No, it's one of our only 3 sources of revenue. We can't do that. It's not an option. I'd love to. I'm right there with you. But that's not good for the county, because we can't fund the government this way, not with the current laws that we have to live under for the state of Tennessee. So I have to look at what's best for the county always. I mean, it's not a choice otherwise. We have 3 options: property tax, sales tax, and wheel tax. We have no wheel tax. So that leaves property tax and sales tax. Sales tax is maxed out. So the only thing we have left really is property tax. So yeah, I'd love to get rid of it. I think per the Constitution, we have the right to own property. If I pay for something every year, do I own it? No. But this is the law. This is the only way we're given to make revenue for the county. So I do what I have to for the county, and that's what I'll continue to do if I'm elected again.
Thank you. Mr. Blair?
This commissioner meeting, the wheel tax failed, but I was going to touch on that a little bit. It was going to be 50 or 60 or whatever it was for wheel tax. Hickman County is paying $75 wheel tax right now. If you want to look like Spring Hill or Murray County or Williamson County, even Williamson County is the richest county in Tennessee, but they got higher tax rates. And a lot of people, this county is not what Williamson County is. Can't even compare to it. But I was going to say, take something like wheel tax. You talk to your district people, see what their feeling is. Talk to the Giles County people throughout the whole county, see what they think. And see if they want more roads or want better roads. Or because if you got to have money ahead to buy property and to fix roads before these companies will come in, because if you don't, they won't know where to go. And you got to come to a unified decision. It's got to be a unification process to bring everybody together. And it's hard, I'm sure it is. I've seen it done. But as a CDL instructor, I was very thorough in what I did. I'm going to be very thorough in decision making too, because I didn't get where I am today just slacking. There's no room for slackness in this government. We got enough of that going on without my help. So through thoroughness, I'll be a hard worker. I'm going to try to solve problems, and I'm going to try to make peace among the people. I'll do my best. I won't say I'll do it 100%, but I'll do my best, because you can't please all the people all the time. So I'll give it my best shot, and I appreciate your vote. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, we'll wrap this up. Give everybody a minute or so. If there's anything that we've talked about you'd like to comment on, anything or anything that we haven't talked about that you'd like to comment on, we'll start with Ms. LaDuce. She raised her hand, and we'll go with her first.
So I think that there's another option besides tax. I think that the more housing that we can bring into the county to raise revenue, but we must be mindful of the affordable housing problem that we have, because if we don't address it as well, we will have a homeless explosion. And we don't need that in this county. Where I live, Giles County is a beautiful place. And I live in the Richland district, and it's not called rich land for nothing. This is a very rich land, and it's something we want to cherish and take care of. That's all.
Thank you. Mr. Reedy, you want to go next?
Yes. I think that we as a commission here in the last 4 years, last 8 years at least, have been very different, have different opinions. And we, I think, have done a pretty good job of disagreeing without being so disagreeable with each other. And we have tried to follow the rule of you don't have to see eye to eye to walk arm in arm. And everybody understands that whatever opinion you have, and you debate that opposite opinion with someone else, then if you come together, you will come together with a third option, and that will be a merging of the two that you have. And I think that that is where we need to be in county politics, and that's where we need to be in Washington politics as well, rather than fighting each other all the time. I think we can do that. And I think that we as a commission can continue to build Giles County and help it to grow and look for tax bases that are income bases rather than just tax bases. And there's opportunity out there, but we've got to support it with infrastructure. And I think that we as a commission are got the responsibility and accountability to do that.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Mr. Hopkins.
So one of the biggest things we have to do is, and you all are participating and showing up, but we need you to show up all the time. We need you to be in regular contact with commissioners. And as I said earlier, and I think it's very important, you've got to look up, if you don't have your commissioners' cell phone numbers, look on the county website. We're there. We're easily accessible. And if you want to be involved, push us to get things more open. In other words, push us so that we can have meetings after hours when you can attend. Whether every month it's not something you're interested in, I admit, but some months it's something really important and you can't show up. Why? Because we're having a meeting at 9 o'clock in the morning. That doesn't work well for the people. But I hope you will push commissioners to change that rule so that we can have your participation when you're interested. When there's something of interest to you, I want you to be able to be there. And I hope that you'll vote for me and allow me to continue in this job. I've thoroughly enjoyed this so far, just learning how government works. So thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you. Mr. Blair, you want to wrap us up?
Yes, sir. I got wind that Murfreesboro landfill is about to come to a head. They're looking at Giles County. Sooner or later, that decision is going to come up in front of the commission. But we need to work smarter, not harder. We need to come to a unified decision before that happens. And we need to tell the people ahead of time, it could come to pass. Because what we sow, we shall reap. We're not in it for us. We're in it for Giles County. And we need to come together.
Can I address that?
Yes, sir.
Okay, one of the things that we've done as a commission, we've passed the Jackson Law. Jackson Law says that landfills cannot be installed in this county without it gets approved by the city and the county. So they have to have a hearing to get it approved. So that is, and there's always loopholes around some of the protections that you have. But that gives us a good opportunity to try to stop a landfill.
Yes, sir.
Unless, some people may want it. I mean, it may bring in a lot of money to the county, but it puts in a lot of risk.
Thank you. Thank you for that clarification. Mr. Blair.
That's just one of the things we're trying to get out ahead of time before it comes to pass. So they won't be.
Yeah, your point is that whether it's that or anything else,
Right.
get ahead of it.
Right. We don't want to get caught blindsided.
Ms. Ledoux, you had something to add?
Lastly, I just wanted to say, if you want better, vote better. Vote blue and elect Virginia Ledoux.
All right. Anybody else? Everybody good? Okay. Thank you, guys. Let's give them a round of applause. All right. We're going to take our last break of the night as we get ready for our District 6 candidates. Real quick break, okay? Real quick. In our district sure we get all we can get, well, all we can hear from you guys. These are our District 6 County Commissioner candidates. Dennis Posey, Dennis Posey, Richard Kemp, James Gentry, Wes Childs, and Evan Badeur. And we'll just go ahead and get you guys started like we have with everybody else, and start with Mr. Posey. Just give us a minute or so about yourself, please, sir.
I was not born here. I chose to move here. I moved me and my family here when my child was 5 months old, and now in 5 months he'll be 18. I love Giles County. I'm never going to live anywhere else. This is my home. I think that Giles County is in a unique situation. We have pressure both from the south, from Huntsville, second fastest growing economy in the U.S., and from Nashville, is a very established, and Franklin, which frankly is where the growth has come as far south as Franklin, and it's overgrowing itself, and it is putting pressure on Murray. So we have this amazing opportunity being right here on 65. We've got 4 exits. We are positioned to experience the power of that pressure, that growth. And the problem is that we have lots of working families that are having trouble making ends meet, putting food on the table. And we've had a county commission that's been begging, borrowing, and stealing just to break even. We need to do more. We need to plan for growth, not just one thing, but all the things that we can do to grow it, and see that we have more opportunity for everyone.
Thank you very much. Mr. Kemp, would you please introduce yourself to us for about a minute?
Yes, my name is Richard Kemp, and it is past my bedtime. Seriously. I believe Giles County deserves leadership that can read the numbers, listen to the people, and protect our beloved county. Giles County is a very unique place. Myself, I am a financial professional, an entrepreneur, and a community-focused leader dedicated to serving the people of Giles County. I've lived here for 35 years. I'm 40. I know I look young, but I'm 40. My experience gives me a practical understanding of how decisions impact families, how they impact businesses, and how they impact a local community. I'm not running for a title. I am running to do the work. So that's what I love.
Thank you. Mr. Gentry.
Okay, first of all, good evening to each and every one of y'all. My name is James Gentry. I'm married, have one daughter. I graduated from Giles County High School, got a business degree from Athens State College, retired from the Temkin Company here in Pulaski. I'm currently serving as a commissioner in the 6th District after being appointed by the commissioners to serve out the remaining term of the late Mr. Joseph Sutton. And by the way, I was appointed in February of this year. Now, when I'm elected in August to keep this seat, one of the things that I want to look at is to work with the other 20 commissioners and the county executive on balancing the county budget. Because I know a lot of numbers been thrown around here, but as of right now, we truly don't really have a balanced budget. So how do you plan on doing that? Well, first of all, I know how to read a financial statement. It's all about debits and credits. Since we know it's all about debits and credit, we know that it will work for our homes. It will work for any business throughout the world, and it will also work for county government. So what we need to do is roll up our sleeves, go to work, get it done without pointing fingers throwing stone at the commissioners that we have on the board right now or before.
Thank you, Mr. Gentry. Mr. Childs.
My name is Wes Giles. Thank y'all for having us tonight. I'd like to say I'm a well-rounded person. I may be the most well-rounded person up here, and I like to serve others. I'm married to Teresa Sims Childs. We currently have 3 children. They're all 4-legged. And I've been in Pulaski most all of my life. Several of the men and women that have been up here over the last 2 nights have talked about their longevity, their family ties here. I've got 4th and 5th generation folks here, and don't hold it against me, but some are in Lawrence County. Presently, I'm running for Giles County Commissioner because I've stood on what's called the outfield for so many years, complaining about politics, whether it be state, local, or federal. And several years ago, I decided I shouldn't complain anymore if I'm not willing to step up and do the work. So here I am, and thank you again for your time.
Thank you, Mr. Childs. Mr. Baddour.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Evan Baddour. Proud citizen of District 6. I grew up on Sunset Drive, and I'm a Christian, devoted husband to Bonnie Baddour. Happy to say that we're expecting, I haven't said this publicly, but we're expecting a baby girl in the fall.
Very good.
And I'm a current county commissioner. I was elected 4 years ago, and I appreciate your vote then, and I'm asking again for your confidence to continue carrying forward into the future, making the best of the situation. Let's put it that way. We've heard all night, and I don't disagree with the characterization by most that we're in a pretty tough spot financially. And I agree with Mr. Vanderpool. We may be at a turning point, but we have to see it through and keep it on the rails. And I just mentioned that for the past 4 years, I've served as chair of several committees, including the budget committee. And pointing that out just to say the commissioners that the county as a whole, elected, then appointed me to at least lead the meetings. That's what the chair does. And I've been told that I at least run a good meeting, even from those that I butt heads with often. I at least run a good meeting. I let people talk, and I try to synthesize everything that's being said and the ideas into a path forward. So thank you.
Thank you. All right. So the county commission sets the budget each year, and over the past few years, several years, the commission has had to use reserves to get to that fully funded budget. First question is about this 3-part question for each of you. Is that a problem? Do you think that's a problem? Second of all, how do we balance a budget within our means? And then also, if cutting services is part of that equation for you, then what are you willing to cut? And I'll start with Mr. Kim.
Well, I ran about 3 financial stress tests on our county budget and financial statements. And each time they came back as we need discipline. And so I said, well, maybe we could implement policies to prevent us paying reoccurring expenditures with one-time funds. That's what the models keep showing. We're spending fund balances for reoccurring expenditures, when in actuality we should be spending reoccurring revenues to pay for reoccurring expenditures, right? And we need discipline, and so yes, it is a problem. And when we look at how we can balance the budget, I see a number of things. Number one, we need better state relations, so we can return some of the money that's been flowing out of Giles County back to Giles County. We have a lot of farmland that as far as the Green Belt Initiative, we could be making a lot more property tax if that is returned to us from the state. We can also have more sales tax returned to us from the state. And that's one of my priorities is having that state relationship where we can return some of that money back to Giles County. And if we're looking at cuts, we could be looking at something as simple as paper across our many departments to shave off a few $1,000s in each department to make up for some of that deficit and be in it good for the long haul.
Thank you. Mr. Gentry?
Okay, excuse me. Okay, so there are three things that I would like to show taxpayer money. We need to, first of all, make absolutely sure, and it's been set up here already, that we are spending it for the thing that we truly need for the county and not necessarily these are just some of the things that we want. So that's the first thing. The next thing I feel like we need to do is stop robbing Peter to pay Paul. Oh, and by the way, if we do number one and do number one well, number two will actually take care of itself. We won't be robbing Peter to pay Paul. And the third thing, we need to look real closely at the work that Mr. Reed and his team has already done towards Exit 14. And continue to work with them to make absolutely sure that we get Exit 14 up and running. So hopefully we can bring in restaurants, businesses to bring some sales and revenue into the county so that we won't have to keep raising taxes on our citizens. So, and also not only Exit 14, we got Exit 1, Exit 6, Exit 22. We need to get those exits off the interstate up and going.
Thank you. Mr. Giles?
First of all, I wasn't involved in last year's meeting, so I'm not gonna throw stones or second guess what they did. I will agree. I think it has been said eloquently and spot on that we can't use funds or one-time funds to pay for ongoing expenses. And I think Mr. Reedy said that we had $15 million at one time in the coffers, and that fund is considerably less. Again, there's 80, 100 line items to the budget, and the three biggest ones will be education, safety, and roads. And if the road department's already in the funds and can't keep up the roads, we're going to have the growth. It's been said, north is coming south and south is going north, and it's going to continue to, and we're prime area. We are the land of milk and honey. We're perfect right here. And the growth is going to come. We're going to be here, and it's going to put the strain on the infrastructure, whether that's water, roads, whatever it is. And so however we have to work to have the ongoing income to meet the expenses that we're going to have as government, we're going to have to do that.
Mr. Badur?
Yes, I know it's a problem. It's been a problem for decades. And And yes, I'm willing to make cuts. I believe I've shown that. Just recently in this last budget cycle, the Pulaski Citizen put out a great overview article of sort of how that deficit was whittled down from what started, well, last year it was $1.5 million. The department heads helped us get to $750,000 shortfall. So that's where we started this budget cycle. Knox Vanderpool led with the proposal for the school system to allocate 5 pennies back, and had thought through, and we collaborated as to where the sweet spot was, where the school could still overcollect and build their reserves, but not nearly as much as they had been for the school renovations, still pay the school bond. And I appreciate them helping us cut what was a $750,000 gap by approximately $500,000. We continue to make cuts. The department heads found some more efficiencies in the budget process as to their IT. We do look hard line by line. We took 3 days to go line by line and didn't rush any of it. So, but finally, I proposed to close the $110,000 gap by another 60 by rolling back the commissioner pay raises that's been mentioned a few times. I still stand by that. And we had the ability to do that. You can check the article to see who voted against that. But the point is, we had that opportunity. We could have called a meeting the very next day for budget committee or legislative meeting to process the resolution required to basically go back to the old pay model. It was all possible. But of course, those who voted against it threw up their hands. Oh, you can't do that. You're going to mess up the whole budget process. That was misleading. That's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Posey.
Yes. So I've thought about this question a lot. The first thing I would say is no, you don't, as many people have said, you don't take long-term reserves and you use them to pay your general fund. I think of 2 reasons I'd dig into reserves. And the first would be there's an emergency. The sewage plant has failed. We have to do something. There's an emergency at the school. That's something you would pull money from a reserve for. The other thing would be for something that's going to have a return, an investment. We have this opportunity to have this industry come in here, but we need to build up this infrastructure and we need to put 10% down to make it happen. That's the kind of thing you would get into a reserve. You don't pull a reserve to make your basic everyday bills. You asked, what 3 places would you cut from? And I agree. First thing is we cut the commissioners' doubling of their salary. I'd definitely start there. No, that wouldn't pass. There's a lot of people have said that we only get money from these sources, right? They say a little tiny bit of the sales tax and the property tax, but actually a number of the departments that we're over do collect fees. So what I would look at first is at the emergency services, and I would say, what could you do? Who could the emergency services partner with? What would the head propose for getting return more of the money that is due on those ambulance rides? And the second thing I would do on the emergency services front is that I believe that we have heard reports back that a good number of their calls are for transportation because there's a failure for the transportation system. And then so that's where I would go with the last place I would look is at waste management. We don't charge anybody anything to take any amount of load to the dump. And if we charged $5 for a truckload, that would make a big difference. People would say, well, they'll just dump their trash anywhere. There's a $250 fine for a bag of trash. We'd make up a lot of that money pretty quick that way. And if they dump a whole carload, that's $4,000. So
how can you as a commissioner make sure the citizens of Giles County are hearing the truth about what is happening in our government and not what other people may think is going on? Mr. Petrie, we'll start with you.
Who's starting?
Should be Gentry.
Yep.
Okay, I'm sorry. Would you repeat the question?
Yeah, so how would you, as commissioner, make sure the citizens of Giles County know the truth about what is happening in our government and not just what other people may think is happening within these meetings or within the government?
Well, actually, okay, so if you would kind of read the last part of the question? Which one is it? Okay.
How would you help citizens truly know what's happening within our government, within our meetings, and not just what, people hear things on Facebook all the time with what may not actually be true? How would you help keep our citizens informed and know what is actually happening?
Okay. Okay. So, and I know this has been said up here also. I think that it would be nothing wrong with having some town hall meetings. Now, I'm not on Facebook, social media. I know it's all out there, it's everywhere, and you hear all kind of different stuff. And most of the time, there's no facts to support all the different things that you hear. Most of it just rumors. So I would be in favor of, say, a town hall meeting, just say once a quarter. And the ones that are actually talking it and saying different things that they have heard, I think they would show up. And we as commissioners should be able to put the facts out there to them to make sure that we all are telling the truth and trying to do what's right for this beautiful county that we all live in. And I don't think there's not a one of us out of all of the 7 districts would be running if their heart and soul was not truly in the county and supporting the citizen wholeheartedly with the truth and throw the facts at them. So,
Thank you. Mr. Giles?
I may be the prime example of what you're trying to accomplish. Until I decided to run for county commission, I'm not positive that I know what district I was in. I stood outside, complained, hollered, and screamed, but I didn't make my way up the stairs to find out anything. Less than 50% of your population votes today. We've got 30,000 people in Giles County, and we may have 150 in this room. We can have the town hall meetings. We can have all this outreach, but unless someone is going to come toward us, we're kind of limited. And y'all are doing a wonderful job getting it right into someone's home. And for those folks we talked about earlier, they're the elderly folks, other folks that can't be here. This is a great way, but most of us just don't want to get off our backside to get involved. And that, I don't know how we're going to take care of that. Free barbecue and I'm going to move this over.
Mr. Badura?
How to improve, or what would we do to improve public understanding? I've taken every call from the newspaper when they ask a clarifying question. I think clarifying is the short answer. Not saying that I have all the answers, but I've written news articles, op-eds in the paper when I felt it was necessary to put more information out there about certain issues. I've drafted resolutions that try to frame the situation we're in, not only to educate, I think, some other commissioners that may not have attended all the committee meetings, but just to keep people up to speed the best that I can. As for meeting times, Mr. Hopkins mentioned that, the public being able to attend, not during 9 to 5. I've voted consistently to move the meeting times to 5 p.m. or after. I don't know how many times we voted on that, but just a hair of majority likes those 9 a.m. meetings and then going to lunch. And I'll vote again for it. I hope we can get that changed under the new commission. As chair of the budget committee, I've made presentations as to options that we have, like PowerPoint presentations, for example, of various options, including options when we were discussing the wheel tax of what percentage of a property tax decrease could we have if we had a wheel tax. So that proposal didn't get very far because essentially it wouldn't have closed the gap. I've never believed that the wheel tax would should be the end all be all to fix the budget problems, but to offset, take some of the burden off the property owners and property taxpayers and supplement with some new payers into this greater good. Finally, online, I think this is maybe a large part of your question. You may see me in these forums and commenting here and there, but it's to clarify, not to condescend. And I have received countless personal attacks, and I have found the ability to just let those bounce off. And for those who have made those statements out there listening, I'm working for you too. We just, there are communications issues. We can work through all this. But I'll continue to, my law partner has mentioned a few times, I probably spend too much time reading the comments online and chiming in. But that's just who I am.
Thank you. Mr. Posey.
Yes, I think it's all been said over these various nights. We got to have meetings, town hall meetings would be helpful. I think that you both do an excellent job getting the print and the radio out there. I think what we're doing by recording not just this meeting, but the committee meetings and making them available is going to make a big difference to people who can't get out there and see it. And there is some value to those online tools, being able to get an instant pulse from what the people in your area are thinking. But everything online is not true. And as he said, it's not safe in the comments. So it's I'm going to be as open as I can be. I always have been. And I'm happy to, write a letter, go to a town hall, and listen to what people have to say. You know what opened my eye a lot was just going door to door to get the signatures to get on onto the ballot. There were a lot of folks who didn't know, as you said, didn't know what the district they're in, didn't know what was going on in politics, didn't feel like they had a voice or any option to make any change or do anything. And I want to make the people in District 6 feel like they can make a difference. I want to make sure that if they want to vote, they know how to, and they register in time. And I want them to feel empowered.
Mr. Kim.
Education. If I could ask, is there anybody in the audience who's been following me for the past 6 years online who can say that I've educated them about finances or investments? We got a hand back there. We got two hands. We see another, right? But that's what I'll continue to do, is continue to educate people. I've built a following online and in person. I've actually built a business out of educating people on finance and investing. And so that's what I'll continue to do with government, is educate the people.
All right, thank you. Last question, and we'll start with Mr. Giles. So how will you handle, as a county commissioner, the conflict that often arises, or maybe not often, but does arise, between what you think is best or know is best for the county, but may not be what your individual constituents want?
Well, considering I obviously know everything and know what's best, so I can just, it's been said, you're going to have half the people want one direction, half the folks who want another. The responsibility that we have as an elected group would be to educate ourselves, find out what has to happen, what needs to happen, and then to those folks that want to hear that, we share it with them. And we try to take the best information that we can get. We mix that with the feedback that we get from those people that are willing to give us good, credible, and I'm not saying positive, meaning you got to agree with me, but meaningful feedback. Boom, we'll add those together and we'll come up with a better solution. But folks that just want to chime in and be negative, I wouldn't do what Evan does. I'd just delete. I don't do, I'm sorry, I don't do Facebook, so but anyway, so.
All right, Mr. Badur.
Can you restate the question, please?
Yeah, so how are you or how do you as a county commissioner handle that conflict that arises at times between what's best for the county as a whole, but what individuals or individual constituents might?
I think the conflict a lot of times has to do with being responsive to people's immediate needs. I can't afford any more taxes versus taking a long-term view of what is good for the county. That's the conflict I think that can exist. So I think you have to balance those. In years like this, where the economy is hitting everybody from every which way, you have to make do with what you have, and you can't impose a wheel tax. That's why I voted against that this year, even though I had been trying to educate on the options that would present. I think I get the conflict that really comes to mind is the conflict between commissioners, but that's less responsive to your question. But to both, I would say I try my best to speak the truth as I know it, even if it's uncomfortable delivering those statements. I try to bring us back to a lot of times we get derailed from conservative principles and take more superficial attacks at each other. And we do have to take a long view, though, as it relates to our schools and our kids. As Ms. Goolsby said earlier, if we decided today that we need a new school building, 10 years at best before it would be here. So we have to understand and be responsive to our citizens' needs today, while also governing responsible with long-term considerations in mind.
Thank you, Mr. Posey.
The last time I was on this stage, we had 1776, the musical. There's a line that keeps coming in my head every time you ask this question. The Dr. Lyman Hall from Georgia, he says, we're split right down the middle. The people are against it and I'm for it. But I think that this is a more complicated situation, that you can't just always vote your conscience. With the wheel tax, we were all pretty sure that at a referendum that would be voted down. So we would have to go against the majority opinion of our people in order to vote yes. And I think I would really be hard pressed to do that. But there might be a time when there's a problem of conscience, or I'm looking at what my people want, what the constituents want long-term, being able to afford their bills. And I could see that I'm going to have to make some of them unhappy, but I'm always going to have their long-term desire, being able to pay their bill, being able to have their kids in school. I'm going to take those into account along with their stated position.
Thank you. Mr. Kemp.
Well, I'm going to do what Mr. Reedy said. I'm going to do what helps me sleep at night. But seriously, in 2022, I went online and I told people to invest. I make my money out the stock market. That's how I make a living. Right. In 2024, I did the same thing. And in 2026, I did the same thing. And if you ever notice, if you follow me online and you this is all verifiable information, you can notice that I don't come online when the stock market's at an all-time high. I come in and I talk to people when there's a bear market, when there's a correction, because I care about you. I care about protecting your money. I care about protecting your capital. And so when it comes time to make these decisions, I want you to know that I always have you in mind, like I've always had you in mind.
Thank you. Mr. Gentry.
So.
I'm sorry, Mr. Giles, will you move that microphone back over?
Thank you. Sorry about that.
All right. Thank you. Go ahead, Mr. Gentry.
Okay, so when you have 21 commissioners and we all are looking at things from a different perspective, And, and then you're also dealing with your constituent. And those are the ones that I think all of us are going to put first. We need to put those first because we are actually working for them. So conflicts, yeah, they're going to rise from time to time, but it ain't so much about the conflict, it's how you handle it. If you treat everybody decent, do things decent and in order whenever the conflict arises. The wheel tax, we talked about that. I know some didn't think that we should have put the wheel tax out there for the citizens to vote it up or down, but I'm one that I think we should have. I think we should, and more than likely they were going to vote it down, but at least we would have known. So and then the commissioner, I just think that we're going to have to work a little bit harder. When you look at Giles County, I think out of the 95 counties, Giles County is ranked 4th or 5th in terms of being the largest. But I'm not sure where I don't know we don't rank too high when it comes to getting businesses at the interstate so we can offset raising taxes on our citizens, get revenue in to keep from having to do that. So I think since we are right in the middle of Huntsville, Nashville, we got a great opportunity to do just a little bit better in terms of getting businesses in this county.
Yes, sir. Thank you. All right, we're on the part of this where basically we're going to give you guys a minute or so to either respond to what's been said, add anything that you didn't think we touched on that you'd like to, and then give us a final message. So we'll start with Evan.
Thank you. If you're still curious or have questions for me, my name is Evan Badur. You're welcome to call my office or email me 363-7476. I'm accessible. I want to hear from you. I return emails. I appreciate input. I would also say, and whether or not I'm reelected, I have done my best and I'll do my best and I hope to serve 4 more years. I will also make a comment on these other races. I think that the county executive race is going to be very important. And while I would just say, be wary of those or cautious of candidates who tell you who to vote for. I feel like we have lost in many ways, and it's not our fault, it's from the top down nationally. We've lost the ability to think independently, and we fall in line with groupthink. I think that individual conversations and we can get a lot further here without that distraction. And thanks for the time. I'm already, but feel free to reach out to me. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Posey.
I think more than anything, I know that we would like to save, we'd like to preserve our way of life here. We'd also like to be able to afford our food and our gas and our homes. And we'd like to continue to make Giles County a safe and wonderful place to live. And that managing all of those different requirements is complex. It's like threading a needle. And but I think that we have a great opportunity for growth here. We have some really powerful forces that if we are forward thinkers, if we're thinking about the future and we're making a plan, we can really do some good. We can really see it. And I'm excited about the future. And you were right. This place is a gem. It is a great thing. Aladdin Jr. is coming, and then Anne of Green Gables.
That was the one I couldn't remember. Thank you. Mr. Kent.
I think here in Giles County, we do have a unique opportunity being one of the most famous cities in the world. We're we're in a day and age where we're training a workforce for the future, and we need our industry aligned with that workforce. Because when I was listening to Sheriff Purvis, it was almost breaking my heart. How much we don't lack, how much we lack the revenue that we don't have. Because a lot of the departments don't have ways of generating revenue, and so it's up to us as a team to generate revenue here in this county. So these departments are fully funded. We need them funded. We don't want any cuts. We want our departments funded. We want Giles County to remain beautiful and unique. So if we align ourselves and generate the revenue that we need, we can get where we need to go. The future is headed towards energy, and we need to become an important player to our state.
Thank you. Mr. Gentry?
Okay, so we're the land of the milk and honey. This is a beautiful county. We still have some work to do, in my opinion, with infrastructure, and it's been mentioned before. And maybe that's one of the reasons why we have not been able to bring in certain type industry because of that. So we need to work on that, get that up, and I still go back to my opening statement in terms of balancing the budget. It's not that hard. It just really debits and credits. So I think that if we, all 21 commissioners, put our minds and hearts together and do just a little better job when we get ready to spend taxpayer money to make absolutely sure that we're spending it on something that we need and not something that we want. And I've only been here for 4 months. I know I still got a lot to learn, but I'm willing to study and learn. And I appreciate your vote in August.
Mr. Giles?
I would say that over the 2 nights, everyone you've heard, they're good men and women that we're going to be well represented by if any of them are elected. I'm learning and continuing to learn about the county government because it's time to get involved. And I was one of those people you could have had the barbecue and the burgers and everything else, and I probably still wouldn't have shown up. But I'm here. My goal is to make Giles County, or to help Giles County continue on the path that it is. And it's a great, lovely place, and we'd like for it to stay that way.
Thank you. Let's give these guys a round of applause. I'm going real quick as we wrap this up. I want to thank every single person that's running for office in this county. Okay, that's, to me, that is what I appreciate, because I know what it takes. I've watched these guys for 30 years serving these spots. I know what it takes, and the ones that do it right, they work hard at it. And so thank you to each and every one of you guys, and every single person that watched all these videos or sit here and watch this. The one thing that you got to remember is you got to be involved more than just during the election. All right, that's the one thing I'm going to say. Thank you to everybody, and thank you to Morgan, and we're going to sign off. Thank y'all.